You're watching the Sunoco Minor League Cricket Championship, brought to you by our 2023 partners.
Pleasant good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Prairie View Cricket Complex in Prairie View, Texas. This is round 5 of the Sunoco Minor League Cricket Championship 2023. Today's Central Division matchup finds us with the Houston Hurricanes against the Michigan Cricket Stars. Houston Hurricanes having won the toss, deciding to have a bowl. So the Houston team is now walking out to the middle. You'll also see the umpires already at their respective ends. This is Myron James at the highway end, the southern end of the ground, and that is at the forest end. That is Owen Brown. Brian Walters with you, and I'm pleased for the first time to do a full 20-over match with this gentleman, Mr. Munir Majid. Good afternoon, Munir.
Good afternoon, Brian Walters, and good afternoon to all the listeners who have tuned into Day 3 of this Labor Day extravaganza of the Sunoco Minor League 2023. The home team finally turning the ship around after that win last evening. They now face the table toppers, Michigan Cricket Stars, a young, exciting team, so it's going to be a good challenge. Hurricanes, of course, as you might see on your screens, there's that man marking his run-up, Usman Shinwari. 2 changes, Brian, in the Hurricanes lineup. Mohammad Asif makes way for Hassan Rashid, and Fahad Babar makes way for Usman Ashraf, who's also going to throw in some leg spinners into the mix.
Sometimes you get the sense that the Houston team is a couple of former Pakistani internationals and 9 guys named Usman. But Usman Shinwari is express pace, somebody who is a man after my own heart as a former quote-unquote left-handed fast bowler. I love the attack that he brings, really quick. You mentioned that Michigan is a good young team, but there's also a good blend of experience. Captain Zishan Maksud has played in the system here for a long time, but if I'm not mistaken, is a former captain or maybe the current captain of the Oman national team. So high mix of experience and youth. And it's going to be interesting to see these 2 youngsters, Nicholas Kirton and, well, I don't know if Rizwan Chima would want me to call him a youngster. He's somebody, again, the former international out of Canada. Heavy hitting, and I think we're going to see an interesting matchup first up.
Most definitely, and no surprises. Usman Shinwari has been thrown the ball. He's going to run in from the Highway 290 end. Here he is, first ball. And it's that Joshua Trump behind the stumps. The ball just fizzes off the deck into his gloves.
Fizzes past the outside edge. Shinwari, I think that delivery was about 75% of how quick he can bowl. He can be, when he really runs up and thuds it in short of a length, you'll see Josh Trump collecting that ball up around his face. At his quickest, I would have to estimate, Munir, that Usman Shinwari can touch 86, 87 miles an hour. Of course, at this level, that's plenty quick. That's quick for international level. And I think these openers will have to take a good hard look before they start going after him.
Most definitely, Brian. And again, just teasing that outside edge. And this time, there was also good carry. The last one was a little skiddy, but this one, he hits the deck and finds a lot of bounce.
That's the carry that I'm expecting to see from him. When he comes up and hits the deck, that's exactly what you expect to see from Usman Shinwari. Of course, we're still inside the power play. The power play, for those of you who are not familiar, is the first 6 overs, the first 36 legal deliveries of the match. During that time, you can only have 2 fielders outside of the inner circle, the 30-yard circle that goes around the pitch. Those 2 fielders are now at deep third and backward square leg, almost like a wide fine leg. So that gives you the sense that these batters are probably not going to get much to drive as you'd expect from Usman Shinwari.
Oh. Again, the ball and bat haven't met yet. They're playing cat and mouse, 3 and 3. And he's building up that pace, like you said, Brian Walters. Reminds me of his early days when he just broke through the national setup of that Pakistan team. And he was clocking 90 consistently and had one of the most promising man-of-the-match performances. In the post-match interview, Ramiz Raja happened to ask him what's the secret to his pace. And he made a reference to something called lobia, which is rice and beans. So a lot of protein he has packed.
Sure.
And that's one of the reasons why at age 30 he's still clocking around that 90 mile per hour.
Oh, my goodness.
He's going to keep building that pace. And this one is wide. He's going to correct that. And this one is being given a chase. And it's going to be cut to just a couple. Toe end of the bat. So it didn't really carry all the way to the fence.
So he didn't really time that well. Usman Shinwari, that's the length you expect for him to bowl. But this one is a little too wide, too far outside off stump, giving Nicholas Kirton the room to open up his shoulders and throw the bat at it. As you mentioned, didn't exactly make good contact, but able to get the ball away far enough for them to run a couple. I expect Shinwari to continue bowling that same length, just a straighter line. It was a similar length, but the straighter line with the first 3 deliveries that beat Kirton all 3.
Primarily, you've been a left-arm seamer, Brian. Based on the load-up and how he finishes his action, you think his natural is into the left-hander or he's taking it away from them?
Oh, definitely taking it away. We'll look at that. Oh, there's the ball there. I want to see the replay on this because his stock delivery from that angle over the wicket slants in but then curls away towards the slips. In fact, I'm surprised that they don't have more than 1 slip. Just a single solitary slip. Probably more because Kirton likes to throw the bat at the ball. But here you see on the replay, curling away there. Every time that he's beaten him past the outside edge. So that tells me that that ball is swinging away from the left-hander. And he's going to be a handful, obviously presenting a different challenge to the right-hander. Hasn't bowled to the right-hander yet, Rizwan Cheema. But for him, he'll be slanting it across. Some of them will be swinging in, and some will be going with the arm across the batter. So that's going to be something to look forward to.
Good insights from the ever-trusted Brian Walters, and a lot of them have held their line. So does this one. Just back of length and has Kirton pouncing on his toes. At the end of 1, it's 2 for no loss. Good start from the Hurricanes.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need 1 hand on the roof, 1 hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go Rewards, when you fuel, you save, because rewards come first.
All right, so we're going to resume over number 2. Hassan Rashid comes off the bench and has been handed over the new ball responsibilities. He's going to be bowling to Rizwan Cheema, that man who is so fearsome And Hassan Rashid, if some of you watched the first couple of games, gets exaggerated swing away from the batsman. And he struggled to control his swing in the first game he played, just like on that occasion. So wide is signaled by umpire Owen Brown. He'll have to get this right.
You'll have to get it right, and Rizwan Chima will punish you if you don't get it right. Very strong down the ground or there. If you bowl it short and wide, he will flash you away through backward point for 4. Chima stand and deliver stuff for the first boundary of the day.
Yeah, so much width. And Rizwan Chima is again one of those players who's very strong down the ground, but also square of the wicket. Big 4, strong guy, hails from Canada, one of the most recognized players out of Canada. And as you see again, if he's getting that exaggerated swing, he cannot afford to start outside the off stump. He'll have to be in line with the stumps and then just teasing him outside that off stump. The slip has been removed. There's a short third inside the circle, and then we have got a very wide-ish. In fact, now Usman is changing that fielder. If you look to the left corner of your screen, Usman Rafiq has moved to backward point, and Karthik Gattapalli is at a deepish point. It's not a sweeper cover, it's a deepish point. And again, just way outside the off stump. He's lucky to get away with this. Umpire Owen Brown reckons it was barely inside those wide markers.
Yeah, for me, this feels like a defensive matchup. This is Karthik Gattapalli, who's at deep backward point, almost like a wide third. Usman Ashraf inside the circle at short third, and they immediately go defensive. I want to ask the bowler to deliver the ball where I need him to deliver it. And again, he's bowling it wide. So that might be some indication that Usman Rafiq, the captain, does not think that the ball is being delivered in the right places here by Hassan Rashid.
Yeah, none of the deliveries so far. He's bowled 4, 2 legal and 2 wides. He hasn't been able to get the bearings in line with the stumps and then getting that away movement. He's starting way outside the off stump in the first place. That's way little better. I won't say way better. There was still a lot of room, but since it was closer to the stumps, Rizwan Chima thought of going down the ground.
Chima almost looks like he wants to overhit the ball at the point where, look at this replay, look where his head ends up, pointing straight up, looking to really try to overhit the ball there. So he's really eager to get going, almost no batter likes being in single digits, and he wants to take the game to the opposition.
And this one is back of length and gets it high on the bat, does Rizwan Chima. And the shy gets Rizwan Chima on his back. The fielder there is going to come over as a gesture of goodwill, and they'll just check on each other. No harm done. So Chima, he's a strong lad.
Oh, he's a strong lad, but the cricket ball in the back doesn't matter how strong you are. That doesn't feel good at all to anybody. Chima, of course, not going to show much evidence of having been disturbed by that, but I can tell you, you've played cricket long enough, Munir, to have been hit with a cricket ball. That does not feel good at all.
Yeah, and that brings that was very close. I think the exaggerated swing was again taking it down the leg side. Rizwan Chima batting from this end, Brian. There would be a lot of balls to retrieve if he gets going from that forest end.
Oh, my goodness. And if he gets going is the key. Now, with the exaggerated swing that Hassan Rashid is getting, something tells me that if he scores, it will be in the extra cover area. I'll say more about that shortly. That's a good-looking stroke, but well fielded by Hassan Rashid himself on the follow-through. So that is a dot ball to close things out here in the second over. After 2, the score is 9 without loss.
आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
All right, no surprises there. Usman Shinwari with this new ball, while it's still moving, is going to get a second over. Generally, that's been the trend. He bowls 2 in the power play and then comes back towards the death to close the innings. That's his role that he does so well, Brian.
This is a delicious matchup. This is Usman Shinwari against Rizwan Cheema. It's the irresistible force and the immovable object. With him swinging the ball into Rizwan Cheema, I anticipate this area here between long on and mid wickets to be in play.
And again, down the leg side from Usman Shinwari.
Yeah, starting this one just a little too straight. Again, he's going to be swinging it into Cheema. So he's needing to start this ball probably on a 4th stump line and having it curl back into the right hander. But if you start it on a leg stump line, then obviously that will take it down the leg side. And in this case, that's exactly what happened as the ball went through the wicketkeeper, Joshua Trump.
I must say I like the bright lime green color the Morrisville cricket stars are wrapped in. It's almost like a cool spot in this heat.
It reminds me of a Jamaica Talawas uniform. That's exactly what it looks like, or the Jamaican national team.
Absolutely, that lime green, dark green, and black combination with a hint of yellow somewhere in there. Beautiful colors. And also refreshing from those usual black, blue, reds that we tend to see a lot.
I would agree completely. Shinwari, I don't know, body language-wise, he appears to be a little, I don't know if it's tired. He hasn't been here long enough to be tired, but it doesn't seem to be bounding in with the usual energy that you see from him. So something to look forward to. Just, to me, just he appears to be laboring in some way. I'm not exactly sure why, but we'll keep an eye on that as we go through the rest of this spell.
Here he comes again, and this one is slightly full. Takes the thick inside half of the bat, and Karthik Gattapalli gives it a decent chase and some footwork there. Matthew Tromp is going to get it back to his brother Joshua. So a good couple of runs there for Rizwan Cheema.
So I mentioned I thought that this was the area where Rizwan Cheema could score in. You're exactly right. That was a thick inside edge. Had he hit that one squarely, it would have gone probably more to mid-on and maybe over the top of mid-on. That thick inside edge, taking it wide of Karthik Gattapalli down here in front of us at the boundary. But that, to me, is evidence that the ball is swinging, and it's swinging into the right-hander. Look out for number 24, Mukhtar Ahmed, at mid-wicket. He may be in play here with a potential catch.
And of what we have seen of Rizwan Cheema over the years, he really inside the power play likes to go over the top. And Usman Shinwari is somebody who likes to hit the deck with the balls rearing up. So if he doesn't get a measure of him, one of these could pop up straight up in the air. And that one is again down the leg side. Umpire Myron James signals a wide.
Boy, I tell you, Josh Trump collecting that one chest height. You and I both have headsets on, Munir, but we can hear Usman Shinwari grunt as he releases the ball. So he's really working up ahead of steam. Forget what I just said about him looking a little lethargic. He's really hitting the deck hard now. It's on the walk back that he seems to be laboring a little bit. But once he gets into his run-up, then that's where the energy comes back.
And also the thud of that ball and the gloves of Joshua Trump almost echoes across the stadium. But we've been saying the weather's gotten pleasant. It's back in the hundreds almost. It's not that comfortable out there if you're a fast bowler steaming from 30 yards. Better line this time, just slightly outside the off stump. And Rizwan Cheema, of all people, lets it go.
I'll tell you what, if you look down at deep, let's call it wide third, or sort of a backward point who's back on the boundary, Rizwan Cheema, in order to decide to have let that one go, probably thought, you know, if I go for this ball, I could potentially give catching practice to that guy right on the boundary at deep backward square or backward point. So Cheema, with maybe a touch of judiciousness, he's normally somebody who throws the bat at everything that he can. But it's going to be interesting to see how long he keeps that bottled up, because he's somebody who genuinely or generally likes to get after the bowling.
The kind of pace he's working up, wonder if that man needs to be a little fine at third man. But again, Rizwan Cheema still trying to get a measure of Usman Shinwari.
When I mentioned a delicious matchup, that's what I was referring to, because Shinwari, he's not going to go down without a fight, and Cheema wants to get on top of the bowling generally. So that's why you see him, Cheema, throwing the bat so hard at those deliveries. Interestingly, seeing him rehearse that shot just now, he just rehearsed an uppercut and looked directly toward deep backward point. So again, if that line is going to be outside the line of off stump, I anticipate him going that direction. And I agree with you, Munir, that player at deep backward point probably needs to be about 5 yards to his right, to his left rather, more fine.
We come back to that point after this ball, and this thuds on his pad. There's just excitement. It wasn't an appeal, was always going over the top and probably a little down the leg side. So about that third man, Brian, the second fielder behind square is on the 30 yards, but he's extremely fine. He's like a second slip that's dropped to the edge of the circle. Not really a fly slip, because he would need to be about 20 yards or 10 paces back for that to happen.
Right.
But that's a very interesting field placement by Usman Rafiq. He's probably hoping for that slashing blade of Rizwan Cheema to nick something to that man there. You'll see it as we zoom out, but that man is just right, as you see. It's probably at about 20 degrees from the stumps and right on the edge of the circle. So good work by Roddy.
That is an interesting fielding position.
On the
yes.
production desk. Usman
Absolutely.
Shinwari comes up again. And this is down the leg side, and this would be dispatched 6 inches inside the boundary. And that's going to be a 4, so very good over by Usman Shinwari. He had only conceded 2 wides up until that point and a couple of runs off the bat. And it ends with a boundary. So that's going to make it 10 runs off the over. As we look at this ball, Brian Walters, talk us through it.
Getting it too straight again. Shinwari has not gotten the line right. Mostly bowled the right length, but that line has been at the same time too far outside off or down the leg side. This time, Cheema cashing in and getting that one down to the boundary, deep fine leg for 4. That's the end of 3. Score is 17 without loss. $17 without loss, and they were giving the ball, or giving the 4th over to Hassan Rashid again. A long conversation between Hassan Rashid and Hamza Bangash. It's going to be interesting to see what this conversation is. In fact, I think the reason why there is a conversation is because, once again, that ball is lost. Anything that goes in that direction, the fielders can get the ball back within a few seconds, or sometimes it takes as much as 3 or 4 minutes to find. And we may be talking about a replacement ball here. But that just gives us a little bit of time to talk about your impression so far of the bowling attack. These opening bowlers for Houston, after having chosen to bowl first, for me, their lengths have generally been good. It's the lines that have been giving them an issue. 17 runs conceded so far in the first 3 overs of this innings.
Rightly said, Brian. And as far as the Michigan Cricket Stars are concerned, they haven't really gotten off the blocks, all guns blazing. Rizwan Cheema has tried to throw his bat, but Usman Shinwari has been up to the task. And Kirton is batting on 2 of 8. So they'll have to get a move on, but at the same time, they've seen off those 2 overs from Usman Shinwari, which are so crucial with the new ball. And we know Rizwan Cheema is somebody who, once he feels he's gotten in and he has a sizing of the bowling, he can go downtown, and that run rate, which is under 6, could be pushing towards 8, 9, or even 10 within the space of a couple of overs.
Well, certainly has that sort of hitting power, and it's going to be interesting. You mentioned that Kirton is only 2 off 8. The majority of deliveries that Kirton has faced have been from Usman Shinwari. He's now facing up to Hassan Rashid. Let's see if Hassan Rashid can get this line right. And I like what I see here. He has stayed over the wicket to the left-hander. You know, we're talking off camera that is, for me, a much better angle. If you have a right-handed bowler bowling to a left-hander, right-handed pace bowler, it makes so much more sense, especially since you're swinging the ball in. Makes so much more sense for you to stay over the wicket. It keeps LBW in play and also keeps the slips in play with that action, or at least the outside edge of the bat.
And this one has caught him on the helmet. Hassan Rashid is very tall, so he hits the deck. The ball was rearing up, and Kirton thought it was there for the pull, completely missed it.
Well,
I think it gets him on the grill.
It was there for the pull, but he just got beaten for pace. Absolutely quick delivery. Hassan Rashid is not as quick as Usman Shinwari, but when we see the replay, we will see that this ball takes off from a decent length. Essentially, he bent his back, wasn't looking for swing, just wanted to bowl at pace. Look at this. From over the wicket, again, that angle is a better one for me, and digs it in there and absolutely flush on the side of the helmet, beating him for pace. That is a fast bowler's dream. Cricket can sometimes be a dangerous sport, but that's why you have fast bowlers, to be able to do exactly that. And once again, the angle for me, it's as much the angle at which ball was bowled over the wicket, slanting across on a middle stump line. That's exactly where you want your bouncers to be. And so that is a good piece of bowling, and that one will definitely stay in the mind of Nicholas Kirton.
Yeah, and Owen Brown, rightly so. The concussion protocols have to be followed. The team physio comes out and they check in on Nick Kirton. Everything looks good. Hassan Rashid, coming to his topic, Brian, he can be very deceptive. He comes off a very short run-up, just 5 steps, but he naturally exerts a lot of pace in his delivery stride and gets the ball to climb up, uses his height to good effect. You saw that replay, how his release point is extremely high. And from that kind of height, when he hits the deck, it wasn't extremely short. It was a short delivery, all right, but it wasn't a half-tracker.
Sure.
So just back of length, he has the ability to get the ball to rear up at that kind of an uncomfortable height. Here he comes again, and this one is beautifully played off his hips. Drifts down the leg side, but there's Karthik Gattapalli, who's been stationed at deep square. So that's only going to be a single, and that brings Rizwan Cheema back on strike to Hassan Rashid.
Not surprising that the next delivery after such a short ball was full. I was actually expecting for it to be a Yorker. It wasn't quite Yorker length, but certainly getting that ball right up there and driven down or clipped off the legs down to deep backward square. But continue watching Kirton, because once again, the mark of a good batter is to be able to put whatever ball happened before in the past and focus on the next one. The best batters can do that. Nicholas Kirton is a very, very good batter. Let's see if he can forget about being hit on the head and continue along in terms of being able to score runs, regardless of what the ball is doing.
And looks like there's another change in the field. Karthik has been brought back inside the circle. And that took the nick. Joshua Tromp with a desperate effort. He was really flying. That was a pacey delivery again. Looks like the bat face closed a little too early. Took the outside edge and flew past Joshua Tromp. Just couldn't get it stuck in that webbing of his keeping gloves as we see that replay.
Look at the replay. For me, it's a thick outside edge again, beaten for pace. Cheema going hard. And of course, with the angle, Joshua Tromp was already moving to his left, needing to readjust and could not come back across in time to get that.
And this one is again that back of length, line of length, and completely opens up Cheema. He's beaten all ends up. Rizwan Cheema has been a little scratchy by his own high standards, and we're almost at the end of the 4th over, and we cannot say, besides maybe one shot which he picked off the pads to the leg side, hasn't hit that convincing boundary which he is known for, where he goes over the top, pierces the infield. Last ball of the over coming up, and rightly so, defended by Rizwan Cheema. Take a little break, regather, come back strong at the end of 4. It's 18 for no loss.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
'18 without loss. Munir, we have spin. Makes an entrance into the chat. Captain Usman Rafiq brings himself on the off spinner to bowl to the left-handed Nicholas Kirton. Interesting, brave, bold, aggressive call with 2 overs left in the power play.
Yeah, that's a brave decision, especially given Rizwan Cheema is still at the crease and the field restriction is in place. But Usman would fancy himself against Nicholas Kirton, bowling to the left-hand batsman. Around the stumps he goes right away. And Brian, we were talking between overs. The morning game that I was doing here between Chicago Tigers and Dallas Exforia Giants.
Look, I'm the old one. You shouldn't be going, your mind shouldn't go blank already.
Yeah, so that game, we saw an artillery of spinners that was brought out by Exforia Giants, and they found a lot of perches in this wicket. So Usman Rafiq was keenly watching that game on the outside, and I'm sure that's one of the reasons he fancies himself in this power play. We'll have to see how much grip he got on that first delivery.
First delivery was slow through the air, which tells me that he's trying to give the ball as much revs as possible to see how much purchase he can get from this wicket.
And that one again, he's going wide of the crease, trying to create that angle. And it looked like that straightened after pitching quite a lot. Nicholas Kirton, of course, is just getting a measure of Rizwan. He's on 3 of 13. He's under the pump. And he steps down the ground, and Karthik was at mid-off, thought he was in the game, but it evaded him by maybe a couple of feet and goes for a boundary. He wasn't on the edge of the circle. He was there stopping the single, it seemed.
He, I believe, slightly misjudged that because he started backtracking almost like a football NFL National Football League defensive backtracking. Had he turned around and run back, had he judged that properly, I think he might have been in with a chance there.
And this time, Usman pushes it just a little wide, and Kirton was a little early in the shot, so toe ends it. But that whole catch and the ball going over the fielder's head happened in about a second and a half, so he didn't have a lot of time. And this one is slightly fuller, and long on is back on the boundary, so that's going to bring Rizwan Cheema on strike. The ideal use case, I think, for the Michigan Cricket Stars was the right-hander Cheema facing up against the spinner, but Kirton faced 5 balls, scored 5 runs, so decent returns.
The counter-argument would be that Usman Rafiq over the last several years has developed a good doosra. I would be shocked if he did not bowl a doosra here to Rizwan Cheema, because Cheema wants to go big on the leg side. The regulation off-spinner will help him do that. I would have to think that he's looking to take this ball away from Cheema.
And the best part about that doosra, Brian, is the fact that the wrist remains the same. No change in angle of the wrist at the point of delivery, so he's very miserly, and here he comes. Bowls a conventional off-spinner to close the over. Decent bounce there. Had Rizwan Cheema surprise at the end of 5. It's 23 for no loss. We'll be right back.
आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस, इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
So Hassan Rashid bowled a really good previous over, just conceded 1 run. So the skipper Usman has shown trust in him to have an extended burst. He's going to be finishing the power play, over number 6 coming up. And that's very nicely played by Kirton off his pads. Again, it's that man Karthik Gatapalli. He would be twirling his fingers and warming them up. He knows that he would be on right as soon as the power play is done. Is Karthik?
I am not sure that that's the case because Kirton is there. And Karthik Gatapalli, as a left-handed spinner, will be turning it into Kirton. Doesn't necessarily have the delivery that goes away from the left-hander. So that would be the reason why you might not make that move. Look at that shot over the top. That's what you expect from Rizwan Cheema, driving it up and over the top, and that goes maybe just landing a foot inside of the ropes at long off for another boundary.
I just said in the last over that we haven't seen that trademark Cheema down the ground uppish. Won't call it a drive. It's a whip that he loves to play. As you see that replay, just bounces a couple inches inside the boundary. And this one, I was saying that if the length is slightly back, Cheema is going to look to go over the top, and that could sky the ball. So good response from Hassan Rashid. He's picked up a big wicket, Brian Walters.
Cheema aggressive. You know he's wanting to go big. He wants to stamp his authority on the proceedings. Doing the right thing here, though, Hassan Rashid, pulling the length back. And when we see the replay, I think you will see that that was just genuinely, I think he was trying to play that to mid-wicket. Not only was the length shorter, but it was a touch quicker and essentially beaten for pace was Rizwan Cheema. Here we see on the replay, the skying it, just off the top edge, and Joshua Trump immediately calling for it. If the man with the gloves is anywhere close, he's the one who you want to have the first chance at catching that. Joshua Trump is not going to miss out on that, whether or not he has gloves on. And that is the first wicket down, the big wicket in the context of this game. Rizwan Cheema disappears 15 from 17 balls faced with those 3 fours. And the Michigan Cricket Stars at 28 for 1.
That's the first checkbox for the Hurricanes. Rizwan Cheema back in the dugout without doing much damage. And one thing I saw about Joshua, as the ball was airborne, first thing he did while backtracking or going in direction of the ball was he had his right hand up in the air, signaling to anyone. Ehsan Shah was very close. It was primarily Ehsan Shah's catch at fine leg, but Joshua Trump getting the basics right. He's been a breath of fresh air to this Hurricane squad with the bat in the field, and so's been the brother Matthew.
Amazing cricketing family. So the new batter is going to be Raza Ali Dar. Raza Ali Dar, left-handed bat. So now there's 2 lefties at the crease. So further to the point that we just brought up about Karthik Gatapalli, maybe now you don't bring him back at all for a while because you have 2 left-handers at the crease. So let's see how that develops. Oh, look at that ball. Full. And looking, kind of catching Raza Ali Dar on the crease. A half-hearted drive. That ball missing the outside edge. And you always say when they're that the second shot is always better than the first. You see him sort of in his mind rehearsing a well-left delivery. Suggesting to himself that's what he should have done with that first ball.
Did I see him bowl a proper right-hander's in-swing or the away swinger to the left-hander? So that's pretty impressive from Hassan Rashid if he can get the ball to move both ways at will. That was definitely angled and it kept going away from Dar. And same kind of a delivery, and that just evades the fielder at point. He would have thought he was in business, sticks out one hand. And Usman Shinwari with a powerful throw, and Kirton was struggling to get back. There's a lot that happened within the course of those last 5 to 8 seconds.
There is a lot that happened. First of all, if it had been somebody who was taller at backward point, he may well have had a catch there. And then that throw coming in from the deep almost caught Kirton short. It was almost curtains for Kirton. And here's now the last delivery, just needing to redo that because the batter, Raza Ali Dar, wasn't ready. But a whole lot happening there. Almost 2 wickets on the same play, if you can imagine that.
And that one is again, he's going to have a second wicket, and he does. That length, we talked about that bounce that he gets, hits the deck, and Dar was totally surprised. He was fending it, hit the splice of the bat and went up in the air, and Hassan Rashid caught and bowled 2 wickets in this over for him.
Hassan Rashid has been rewarded, or showing why his captain gave him the ball to start his third over. Again, beating him for pace. Here we see that same angle we keep talking about. Right arm over the wicket to the left-hander. I think he was looking to turn that into the onside. Gets the leading edge. The ball pops straight up in the air. And the simplest of catches for Hassan Rashid, who does it all himself. Bowlers never drop their own catches. It's written into the laws of cricket. And Hassan Rashid taking wicket number 2 in the over. The score is 30 for 2.
Some fun banter in the commentary box. But if you are Hassan Rashid and you come into the squad to play this game at the expense of a certain Mohammad Asif,
Oh my goodness.
the weight of responsibilities on your shoulders, expectations weighing you down, and then you come up with that kind of a spell in the power play, getting the wickets of Rizwan Cheema and Dar. Wow. Take a bow, Hassan Rashid.
Absolutely amazing. Now, the captain, Usman Rafiq, will want certainly to bowl the next 3 overs on the trot from this end, bowling to 2 left-handers. Quite of a fumble there. Mukhtar Ahmed at short cover, not able to field that one cleanly, and it goes through for a single. But with the 2 lefties at the crease, the new batter is the captain, Zishan Maksud. We spoke about him before. Tremendous batter, but I think Usman Rafiq will prefer bowling to left-handers than the right-handers. So Cheema's wicket adjusts this game in a number of different ways, because the top of the lineup is very heavy with lefties. So to get the one right-hander out of the way, it'll be easier for the Houston team to bowl at just left-handers instead of having to play that left-right game.
And that's nicely driven by Zisan Maksud, straight to that fielder Mukhtar. Very accomplished international player himself, plays for Oman, hails from Pakistan. Couple of ODI hundreds as well. So needs no introduction in this circuit, and he waits on this one and gets across for a single. There's a shy at the stumps, but long on. Usman Shinwari was pretty well aware of the proceedings and backs it up.
I will say that the energy that you see from the Houston fielders is much more, they have much more of a sense of urgency today. And I want to talk about that after this delivery. Driven down the ground for a single, because, you and I have seen them the last couple of days, lost an absolute heartbreaker, came from just well ahead of the game to lose against the Dallas team, it was the Chicago team, and then looked listless. Even though yesterday they ended up winning pretty easily in a shortened game, their body language didn't suggest like they needed to sort of be in the position to want to win. This ball is dropped a little too short by Usman Rafiq, and it's pulled away for 4. You expect somebody the caliber of Zishan Maksud to do exactly that. But to finish the point, even though they won yesterday, it was a shortened game, a 12-over game, and they won it essentially relatively easily at the end, but they didn't have the same energy and the same enthusiasm. Today it looks like they're turned on, and I like their body language a lot better today than I did the last couple of days.
Yeah, well spoken, Brian. We'll come back to that point after this delivery, as it's nicely defended by Zishan. The 4 games they've played, lost 2, won 2. Even the games they lost, they were in winning positions. So they've managed to keep their head high, and they've turned up day in and day out. as over number 7 has come to an end. It's 37 for 2.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need one hand on the roof, one hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go rewards, when you fuel, you save because rewards come first.
Well, Munir, when you bowl the way that you did, replacing a Pakistani legend, Mohammad Asif, and your figures read 3 overs, 2 for 15, you get the ball to complete your spell. And I love the fact that Usman Rafiq has shown this confidence in Hassan Rashid, particularly since his first over was relatively ordinary, but he's been on fire since that. With those 3 overs again, 2 for 15, 2 wickets coming in his last over.
And again, that wonderful back of length, again making the batsmen hop onto their toes. And if you're a young man, Brian, and you've found your rhythm, you've taken 2 big wickets, you've got your tail up, you want to keep going. You don't want that break of momentum to come back and bowl an over at death.
Yeah.
And if you're the captain, you might as well go for the kill right now. So, intelligent cricket by the Hurricanes overall.
Oh, look at that. That is an amazing shot. That is a pull that went to long on. Talk about being on top of the bounce and talk about being sort of ready for that short delivery. Usually when you pull the ball, it goes square, maybe between mid-wickets and square leg. Kirton hooks this over long on for 6. That is an amazing shot. Look at that.
I'm trying to draw references from golf or baseball.
I think tennis is your best option.
Even tennis. I was thinking of all those 3. And I guess we can just call this a Kirton special. A very unique shot, the way he walked away, made that room. He knew what was coming. Hassan Rashid is going to hit the deck. You don't expect him to bowl it up. He won't pitch it up right now with the field restrictions. So he had to manufacture something. And you've been talking up Kirton, and we see what he possesses. What a shot. And this one is more traditionally played. There's good fielding there from the skipper Usman himself, but they get through for a single to put Zishan Maqsood on strike, who's going to face Hassan Rashid for the first time.
So I brought up earlier about what is Nicholas Kirton's response going to be to having me hit on the head. Well, he was hit on the head with a short ball. This delivery was shorter than the one that hit him on the head. Had he not played that, it would have sailed by above his head. But he played that, an absolutely incredible shot, a pull shot that goes over long on for 6. That says a lot about the man.
And Zishan Maqsood gets nicely on the front foot and gives the strike back to Kirton, pardon me. And to generate that kind of power, Brian, from that height and go straight down the ground over long on. And he just didn't clear that. He cleared it by a good 15 yards.
Yes, he did. And it is amazing to me. Nicholas Kirton standing up just from here appears to be about 6'2", somewhere around there. And to be able to generate that sort of leverage with that type of shot is absolutely amazing. Slower delivery, beating all ends up. That is well bowled. Well bowled by Hassan Rashid. Now, put yourself in the mind of a bowler. This is your last ball for the match. What are you going to bowl here? For me, this is going to be the best Yorker that I have in my arsenal. I'm going to bowl as well as I can here, full straight in the block hole.
I think he's going for the throat. But if you look at Kirton, he has opened up his stance, and that front leg is pointing straight down the pitch. Interesting tactics. He is looking to open access to that leg side, and better delivery this time. Very tight line. There was no room to chance his arms for Kirton. Keep making that mistake. My apologies. At the end of 8, it's 45 for 2.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट में क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Well, we were both wrong, Munir. You thought he was going for a bouncer. I thought he was going for a Yorker. That last ball of Hassan Rashid's spell is a short of length delivery that was just dropped to backward point for no run. So he finishes the day. 4 overs, 2 for 23. Excellent spell. Again, considering that he had a relatively ordinary first over. Usman Rafiq back into the attack. Great ball. That's what the right-handed off-spinner wants to do to the lefties. Drift it in from around the wicket, have it pitch and turn. That is an off-spinner's dream.
And same kind of line and length. This time a bigger stride, getting closer to the pitch of the delivery. You seem to know and have seen Zishan Maqsood quite a lot. He looks very proper, bat packed close together. He's getting a size of the bowling. Does he have the big game as well, Brian, from what you've seen of him?
Reverse sweep for at least a couple. Matthew Trump out here on the boundary does the work to limit that damage. To answer your question, he can hit much bigger than you'd realize. One of his favorite scoring areas when he's on the go is extra cover. But he can generally place shots all around the wicket. So I want to see if he stays out there for a very long time when he starts opening up, because he's a very heavy, a very potent scorer all around the wicket.
And this one, Kirton was trying to make some room and drive it inside out, but there wasn't enough room to work with. And talking of Zishan Maqsood, by the look of it, seems to have very good cricketing upbringing, very proper player, might have come through the ranks of first-class cricket in Pakistan, moved to Oman and has been playing a lot of his cricket. As this one, Mukhtar has a shy at the stumps, would have been tied. The replay will tell us if Kirton was struggling to make his ground. Mukhtar was on his heels just a little bit, and these two batsmen are so smart that we look at this replay.
Looking at the replay, this may have been curtains for Kirton. Look at this. Quick pickup, and yes, I think certainly Mukhtar Ahmed was a little bit late. That throw, yeah, he would have been out. The other thing is that Usman Rafiq was in his way, completely inadvertent, but he had to sort of go around him. So had that been a direct hit, in fact, if the ball would have hit, he would not have even been at the crease, nor would have had the ability to slide the bat inside the crease. So he certainly would have been out there. Luckily for him, the throw was missed. So that is the end of over number 9. The score is 49 for 2.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
All right, folks, it's been an absorbing 9 overs, and we were just talking about this. The prodigy or the oracle Brian Walters mentioned. A little past the prodigy time, I must say, for both of us, actually.
55-year-old prodigy.
For both of us, actually. But we kept saying that Usman loves to bring in Karthik Gattapalli right at the close of the batting power play, but we've got these two powerhouses, left-handers, so he would have to hold them back. And given that, what he has had to do is look at Hamza Bangash to now come and fill in those overs. He's also got the option of Matthew Tromp, who can bowl seam up. And they've also included Usman Ashraf in the squad, who's a leg spinner. This one has worked off his pads just for a single.
Well, that's not an unimportant point that you just made, because that would have upset the plans of Usman Rafiq, both for Karthik Gattapalli, the left-handed finger spinner, and Usman Ashraf, the leg spinner, because both of them would be turning the ball into the right-hander, my apologies, into the left-handers. So you're sort of hoping to not have to bring either one on until another wicket falls and the righty comes to the crease. And if this pair puts on a big partnership, expect that either Usman Ashraf or Karthik Gattapalli will be underbowled today. And that, to me, will have a huge impact on what happens in this game going forward.
And nice and straight from Hamza Bangash. Last evening, he bowled one of the most crucial overs in that defense of 124 in 12 overs. Bowled over number 10 and took 2 crucial wickets, conceding only 2 runs. So he has some confidence coming into this game. Brought out the variations as a good slower one.
I love Hamza Bangash as a cricketer. I'll say more about this after this delivery. Smashed down the ground. That's Matthew Trump. That should just be one. Hamza Bangash is a very aggressive batter. Opens the batting frequently. Opened the batting a couple of weekends ago here. He is at his best bowling when he is sure of his run-up. When he runs through the crease, builds momentum, and then delivers at pace. When he's not quite as effective is when his run-up is a little bit distorted. But here so far, it looks like it's exactly what it needs to be. Looking for a big swipe and a miss. Josh Trump not collecting that one cleanly, but don't think there was an edge there, so no issues from that standpoint. But if you have a Hamza Bangash and you can bowl him in these circumstances, he's not necessarily one of your strike bowlers, but he's somebody who can bowl at a decent economy rate in the middle of the innings, and if he can pick up a couple wickets for you, even better.
And we talked about his variations. It seemed like that was the back of the hand delivery. Just rolled his fingers over it at the very last minute. So it evaded the blade of Kirton, which was coming down with great force. And this one is slightly more foolish, and it's nicely driven down the ground. So it's going to be just a single. Good start by Hamza.
Excellent start. Just 3 runs from this over with 1 ball to come. So we're almost at the halfway stage of this innings. 52 runs on the board. I think given that the Michigan Cricket Stars have only lost 2 wickets, they would have wanted more runs than this on the board already. 5.29 runs and over, projects right now to a score of 106. They'll certainly want much more than that. So look for aggression from these batters for the rest of the way.
And this one is slightly short, and Karthik may have had a chance. He was divided in his mind whether to go for the catch or save the boundary. Ended up in no man's land.
I completely agree with you. You could almost see the adjustment made in his mind. Here we see on the replay that ball pulled. As I mentioned, I expected more aggression, and Gatepale just there decides, okay, it's going to be too far away from me to reach it. But you're exactly right. Caught himself in no man's land, not going to be able to make that catch. So it goes away for 4. 56 for 2 is the score after 10. Another 10 to go. We'll see how much Michigan can accelerate from here. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Prairie View Cricket Complex. This again is the 5th round of the Sunoco Minor League Cricket Championship. Our official partner of minor leagues is Lakshmi. Minor League Cricket for the community partner is Brew. And Minor League Cricket's outdoor partner is Dolphin Media. All of these entities put together to make a wonderful, wonderful tournament possible. Of course, on the ground here in Prairie View, the great Roddy Lalman and SC Tech Productions handling what you're seeing on your screen as we speak. Munir.
Yeah, the first phase of the innings completed, and it would be the Houston Hurricanes. They haven't run through the batting order, just picked up 2 wickets, but they've kept things nice and tight. And Usman Rafiq making the brave decision, going with Karthik Katapalli. It's such a cliche. We talk about this so often that the left-hander, left-arm orthodox bowler bowling to left-handers is going to open up that big arc. Yes. And these two are going pretty okay right now. I won't say they're very fluent at the moment, but they're rotating the strike just fine and looking for the odd boundaries. Remains to be seen, Brian, if this is going to break the shackles.
Something to take note of. The wind has just picked up coming in from the south. Karthik is bowling from the southern end. So if Kirton elevates the ball straight, he'll be hitting into the wind. Let's see how much of a difference that makes as he now bowls to Nicholas Kirton.
Good start by Karthik. It's a loud appeal. Nothing to it as per umpire Owen Brown. The replay will suggest where that ball was headed.
For me, that is bouncing over. I think you can see that from sitting out here. That one almost hit him on the thigh pad, I think. Here's the replay. That absolutely hit the thigh pad. So, ooh, look at this. Reverse sweep being attempted by Nicholas Kirton. Tell you what, that's not a bad option with the third man inside the circle. But the bounce that Gatapali got from that delivery shocked Kirton, and I think certainly would have had him in two minds at this stage because he thought he'd be able to go downtown looking for a big swipe. That was not going to be there.
Yeah, and regardless of all those cliches we spoke about, if you're Karthik Gatapalli and you keep it nice and tight, the most important thing is to not throw it in that arc of the left-handed batsman. So far, he hasn't done it. He has bowled it just back of length, and that's a poor misfield there from Hamza Bangash. Gives away the single. Karthik would have loved to keep Kirton on strike, and now he gets away. And something tells me Zishan Maqsood is a very good player of spin bowling.
Yes, he is. Oh, he's a very good player, period. But particularly to spin bowling, I think you'd prefer to bowl to Nicholas Kirton than Zishan Maqsood. As that wind picks up. Oh, look at that bounce that Karthik Gatipali got. That kicked off a length and hit Zishan Maqsood in the shoulder.
Good response from Zishan Maqsood, not in official play, but outside of it. Brought out some dance moves to celebrate what Karthik was really smiling about. Reminds me of that famous Javed Miandad incident from the '92 World Cup.
No, you're dating yourself. You just lost half our listeners.
Karthik is going to continue, and this one is nicely swept, but there is that fielder at deep square leg. Hurricanes need to tighten up just a little bit. It looks like they've dropped. They're not pushing as hard as they were. A couple of misfields here and there. This partnership is building. They're ready. They're getting ready to explode.
But big picture, 2 runs from the 11th over with a lefty bowling two lefties. So big picture, you're doing really well here if you got the Gatapali and the Hurricanes.
And that's going to make it 3 for the over. Nicely played. Good thing that Karthik did was didn't throw anything up in the arc. He kept it just back of length and completes that over. After 11, it's 59 for 2.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस, इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट में क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Hamza Bangash is going to continue in this 12th over, and as you see, not a lot of tall skyscrapers. Even the tallest one are just 8 runs. So the Michigan batsmen haven't had any run of play where they could say they were dominating the bowling. Couple of very quiet overs, and that's why you see that run rate is still just reeling at about under 6 an over. Hamza is going to resume from the forest end, and this is beautifully cut away by Kirton to sweep a cover, just a single.
Well played, but I think your point regarding the Manhattan is accurate. A lot of bungalows, no, as you would say, no Burj Khalifas. And if you've gotten away this far into the innings, if you're Houston, with only the most expensive over, having conceded only 8 runs, that is a great position for you to be in as a bowling side. Now, only 2 wickets are down. You have to expect that these 2 batters are going to start looking to throw the kitchen sink at these deliveries very, very shortly.
Yeah, and Zishan Maqsood, he's opening up his arms, but he's failed to find the boundary so far. Just a single on that occasion. And that Manhattan, Brian, looks more like a suburb. They need to move to the downtown is where they want to be, the Michigan Cricket Stars.
Or at least the Galleria. At least start there.
At least the Galleria.
You don't have to go all the way downtown, but, you know, you want to get out of the neighborhoods.
Start with Galleria at this stage, and by the end of the innings, you might find yourself 2 downtown.
Yeah.
Hamza is going to continue, and Kirton is on strike. 26 of 35 for him. And this one is very nicely played. It's in the gap between those two fielders. Matthew Tromp will only retrieve the ball from outside the boundary. So much welcome 4 runs.
Well, he tried the slower ball again, Hamza Bangash, but it sort of sat up and begged to be hit. It was not a really challenging delivery in any way. I don't know that, and it's easy to second guess, but if you want to do what you do best, I think that's your best option. Just coming in, bowling, if necessary, a Yorker right in the block hole, or do something else to keep it out of the reach of Nicholas Kirton, because otherwise these slower deliveries that are half trackers just sit up and beg to be whacked.
Yeah, and he's trying to bowl into the pitch. But the problem with that is you can only do it so many times before you become predictable. And that's a better delivery. Goes full outside the off stump, but misses his bearing. But the idea was right.
The idea is right. Again, at this stage of the innings, what you want to do is be defensive, because they're going to be going after you. So even if you bowl a Yorker or maybe just inside the wide line, the ball comes off the outside edge of the bat, it goes to third. In that direction, for me, is better than anything else. That's a good delivery. Attempted pull is missed out on there. You see the frustration in the face of Nicholas Kirton having missed that one. Full deliveries left. 7 runs from the over. How strongly can you close this out if you're Hamza Bangash?
Full marks to Hamza Bangash for trying. He's mixing it up. 1 into the pitch, slower delivery, then he goes full and wide with pace on, and then goes back to slight back of length. But with that wideish delivery that he's bowling full, he has to keep an eye on the 2 fielders behind point who are inside the circle. So any bat on that is going to go away for 4. This is again in the gap, but this time the fielder there does okay, and Matthew Tromp supports him well to keep it down to just 2 runs. So Usman Ashraf and Matthew Tromp combining there.
That's good work. So 1 ball remaining. This is already now the most expensive inning over of the inning. 9 runs coming from it. If you are Hamza Bangash, you just tell yourself, this delivery cannot go for a boundary or a 6. I'll accept 2 runs from this last delivery. We have to close this out strong.
And this one is very full in the arc. He throws it down the ground. What a shot that is to close the over. Goes all the way for 6. We talked about Hamza Bangash wanting to finish the over strong, and he bowls a half volley. Yeah. It's right in the slot where...
Oh, that is right where Nicholas Kirton wants it. Sets it on a tee. That looked like a golf swing, teeing off and hammering it straight, landing a couple of bounces beyond the rope. So that is the second 6 of the innings. That 6 bringing the overall score to 74 for 2 after 12. We'll be right back.
So Karthik is going to continue. We foreshadowed that Manhattan and the nature of those tall buildings were more like a suburb, and might have been the commentator's curse in that case. But that previous over went for a plenty.
Yeah.
And got hit for a 6 and a 4 and a couple here. Karthik is going to continue, and Zishan Ashraf, that's the shot of the day. The way he came down with ease, just so fluent.
So fluent, just a skip and a hop, almost like a dance move. And all of a sudden our cameraman in the deep almost had to do some fancy footwork to not get hit with that ball. It absolutely hammered right in that little platform where he's sitting. That is a beautiful stroke. Look at there on the replay, that ball coming right into your picture. Rod, if we can see that again, that was lovely, even though I don't think our cameraman will think that before this. Here's this next delivery, just defending it right back in front of us. That ball was amazing. That camera work showed the ball coming directly into your living room's via that straight camera. That was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, if you were watching that on your couch, we'll come back to it after this ball. Just back of length and a leading edge. If you were watching that on your couch and not paying attention, we'll let you off if you were taking cover. Might have just come out of your TV screens.
Here it comes.
Look at that again. One of the best replays you'll see in this entire weekend, and that one is played to mid-wicket.
Back to live action. It has to be said, the last 3 delivers after the 6 have been bang on target by Kartik Gatapale. So now only 7 runs coming from the over so far, including that 6. I don't want to jinx it like I did the last time. Let's see what happens on this last delivery. Oh my goodness. The 4th 6 of the innings is the biggest of them all. Zishan Maksud with his dancing shoes on hammers this one over the top of long on. That is the end of over number 13. The score is 92. Oh, 1 ball remaining. My apologies. The score is 86 for 2.
And all my questions have been answered when I brought up the point about Zishan Maksud looking very compact and playing well within himself. And I asked you, Brian, if he has big game. That's as big as it gets. Those 2 6s are just worthy of this minor league. Beautiful strokes. And could there be a third? This one, he just pulls it very easily to that fielder at deep mid-wicket. 13 of this over. Kartik has gone for 15 off his 2. At the end of 13, it's 87 for 2.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need 1 hand on the roof, 1 hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go rewards, when you fuel, you save because rewards come first.
There you see, we saw that Manhattan at the 11 over mark, and now looks like from Katy we moved straight into downtown. There was no Galleria in between.
we bypassed 610 and went straight downtown.
15 and 13. In fact, 15 and 13. Yeah, 15 and 13 in those last 2 overs.
28 runs from the last 2 overs. The run rate is now up to 6.69. The projected score 3 overs ago was about 112. The projected score now is 134. I expect that you'll see them race way past that because I think both of these batters are going to be very aggressive the rest of the way. Usman Rafiq now switching ends, bowling from the forest end. First delivery knocked into the outfield for a single by Zishan Maksud.
Yeah, a little bit of room, and the way Zishan Maksud is seeing the ball, it was pretty easy. He would be not happy with himself that he couldn't place it more fine or like wide of that fielder at sweeper cover. Resulted in only a single, but that brings Kirton on strike, who's batting on 38, and he gets it down to long off pretty easily. Usman is showing clear signs that he's not trying to toss anything up. He's keeping it away from that arc. And Zishan Maksud, as far as he's concerned, he is definitely looking to up the ante and go downtown again. And this one is well stopped by Usman Rafiq. Good work of his own bowling.
Completely. So you're exactly right. He's bowling a more defensive, with a more defensive mindset, pushing it through flatter, getting it outside the off stump, not giving any room. He knows how well Zishan Maksud can use his feet, and he'd be hitting with the wind from this angle too. So that's something else to take care or to pay attention to. This is cutaway behind point. There should just be one. Good work in the deep to pick that up and fire it back in. An economical over so far. Again, the last 2 went for 28 combined. Only 3 runs from this over with 2 remaining here in the 14th.
And again, a quicker one. He hasn't gotten underneath it, and it's that man, Matthew Tromp. He's not going to drop any. And he takes the catch, and that's a big wicket. Nicholas Kirton had used up a lot of deliveries, was going at a runner ball. So this was the time for acceleration as far as the Michigan cricket stars are concerned, Brian.
How big a wicket is that? That opens the game up a number of ways. From around the wicket, drifting it in takes the outside edge of the bat, and it maybe was just not full enough to play the shot that Kirton played. A skyer, goes maybe 100 feet in the air, but Matthew Trump, never in a million years is he going to drop that. In fact, we spoke yesterday about the fact that his uncle Brent and kids are watching in Australia. Happy late Father's Day to you. It's Monday morning, or maybe Monday morning in Brisbane. You all saw your uncle/cousin do good things there. That is a tremendously well-judged catch, and it made it look so easy. So that is the end of Nicholas Kirton. 39 from 41 balls, 2 4s and 2 6s. And that does open the game up, because if I'm not mistaken, that looks like Mohamed Mosin, who's coming to the crease. Mohamed Mosin, yet another left-hander. So they're continuing to apply the pressure. They know that the Houston Hurricanes want to bring on the leg spinner, but they keep feeding all the left-handed batters in order to sort of limit the bowling attack from that sense. So that is good captaincy for me by Zishan Maksud.
Yeah, and we were talking about Usman pulling his length back and not bowling anything in the arc. The whole point of that is exactly what you just saw. If the batsman tries to go downtown, he's never going to be to the pitch of the ball. And with that bat swing, the ball is only going one way, which is straight up in the sky. And Usman executed that plan to perfection, and here he is to Mohamed Mosin, who just defends it to bring an end to that over. What a spell from Usman Rafiq. 4 overs for just 19 runs, and he picked up that wicket of Kirton. So at the end of 14, it's 90 for 3. We'll be right back.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस, इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
So we're going to resume from over number 15. Looks like there's another change, and they might have gone for
Usman Ashraf.
Usman Ashraf. The change we spoke about, he's coming for Fahad Babar, who was opening the batting on previous 2 occasions where he played. And Usman Ashraf is going to bowl his wrist spin. Quite a challenge for him to come and bowl to Zishan Maksud, who's batting the way he is doing right now.
Zishan Maksud, 29 from 23 with 2 4s and 2 6s. In addition to that, you will see Mohamed Mosin, who's more known as a leg spinner, for a long time this past Major League season, led the league in wickets taken, but is an underrated hitter of the cricket ball. That's going to be something to pay attention to. Looks to run this off the face of the bat. The captain, in fact, plays a proper late cut, runs close to the boundary. Did he save that? I think he did. And they run through for 3. Ends up saving 1 run. That's good work. That is a good piece of fielding down there on the boundary by Hassan Rashid. You only save 1 run, but number 1 run in this game can be a big difference. And then number 2, you get the psychological advantage of not rewarding the batter with having gotten a boundary.
Yeah, the fact that Usman Rafiq, we'll come back to it after this delivery. This one has gone all the way for 6. Mohamed Mosin is known for his power hitting, so no surprises there. We were a little distracted by some stray noises we have caught. Probably some interference. But we look at this replay.
Yeah, see what happens here on the replay. Just power stroke. Absolute, just a brute of a delivery. Almost like a short arm jab by Mohamed Mosin, and it sails away over long on for 6. Mohamed Mosin, you know, is a big hitter. I started saying that a couple of deliveries ago. I'll say more after this. Leg spinner to leg spinner. Mohamed Mosin is a good leg spinner himself, and that ball is a wide delivery. So a rough start to his spell here by Usman Ashraf. Mohamed Mosin, in a match I covered in Dallas last year, scored 33 runs in 1 over. And in a local Houston Cricket League match here a few months ago rather, scored 35, 36 in 1 over.
I think 6 sixes in an over from what I recall.
So he's a powerful striker of the ball. This is in the air coming toward us. Usman Rafiq cannot get to it. Throw coming in from the outfield. That's going to be out. That's got to be out. No, not given. It looked dead on from here, but we're not exactly square of the wicket. So umpire Owen Brown obviously in a much better position than we are. Good strong throw from Matt Trump right over the stumps to his brother. Almost said Brett. Josh Trump, who immediately broke the wickets, but that ball was just, I think you'll see here on the replay that the bat just went across the line just before before the ball came in. There, perfect throw, but I think easily home here was Mohamed Mosin. So a couple more runs. No, a dot ball, but no, not a dot ball. I'm sorry, goes for wide. So an expensive over brewing here. 102 runs on the board with still 2 balls to go.
And this one is slightly full, and Mosin was looking to go down the ground. It was always going to be a gamble. They brought in Usman Ashraf to utilize his leg spinners, but one after the other left-handers have been thrown at them, so that has had to deter some of the plans of Usman. This one is short. It's going to go only one way. You cannot bowl there. The problem, the classic problem with wrist spinners is at times they tend to drop it short. And when you do, a batsman of the stature of Mohamed Mosin is going to dispatch you in the bushes like he did on that occasion.
Replay, just a filthy delivery, dropping it a half-tracker, genuine half-tracker. Mohamed Mosin eager to pounce on that type of a delivery, sailing well over square leg for yet another 6. Very expensive over, 109 for 3 after 15. This again is the 5th round of the 2023 Sunoco Minor League Cricket Championship. Official partner Lakshmi. Cricket for the Community partner is Brew. And Dolphin Media is the MLSC Cricket's outdoor partner. Well, Munir, this game has changed a lot in the last 5 overs. 53 runs coming from the last 5. Zishan Maksud is absolutely on fire, and he has been really bested in the last several minutes by Mohamed Mosin. Mohamed Mosin 14 from 6 with 2 sixes. Zishan Maksud 32 from 24 with 2 sixes to go along with 2 fours. The complexion of this game has changed 180 degrees.
Yeah, the first 11 overs went for 59 runs, and since then, 15, 13, 3, and 19. Barring that 1 3-run over from Usman Rafiq, we have had a 15, 13, and 19-run over.
Goodness.
The tables are turning. Hamza Bangash, can you pull something out of their hat? Back of length, just goes for a single. They need some tight overs, the Hurricanes. This game might slip away.
Well, over 16 is being bowled by Hamza Bangash. This is his 3rd, so in theory he would bowl number 18. Maybe overs 17 and 19 would be Usman Shinwari, but you're going to have to find 1 additional over from somewhere else.
Matthew Trump might be a good call.
Oh, this would be a... Matthew Trump is a really good bowler. To have your first over be under these circumstances is a little unfair. So I don't know that Usman Rafiq would do that to young Matthew Trump, who is a good bowler, but it's a really difficult time to ask him to come in and start his spell with 2 batters on the rampage like this deep into the innings. And
this one is played inside out. 1 bounce, 4. Mohammad Mosin is turning it on. He moves on to 18 of just 18 of 8 deliveries. He has counter-attacked the moment he walked out. And we look at this replay. Hamza Bangash. The biggest problem with that delivery was the length. It was right in that slot. Almost a half volley, and Mohammad Mosin was never going to miss out on that.
The length is exactly right. And if you note that the line wasn't that bad. It was maybe a fourth stump line. But Mohammad Mosin intentionally staying leg side. You see him open up his body to access the leg side and staying leg side of the wicket to make sure that he had all the leverage that he could to hit through extra cover. So once again, we keep saying it, a dangerous hitter of the cricket ball, and he himself, along with his captain Zishan Maksud, have transformed this game. Once again, easily a little bit of help earlier from Nicholas Kirton, but they've really shifted into fourth gear and probably now into fifth with a little bit of a delay here because the ball is lost. But my goodness, this is going to be a difficult time to manage for the Houston Hurricanes.
Yeah, if you are one of the Hurricanes, there's an eerie silence on the field.
Yes.
When there's a slight interruption and there's no chirping and no conference or cheering up, you see a fielder stretching, a fielder down on his back. It just tells you that the momentum of the game is not going their way. And you oftentimes...
We're taking a look at the wickets that have fallen as we almost are through with the delay. They've just retrieved the ball, but here we see the wickets that have fallen so far. There we see that ball skied in the area that was Kirton. And see that celebration there. Hassan Rashid had a good time earlier on. Anyway, we're back to live action.
And this one is just back of length, and that's a better delivery. Good comeback from Hamza Bangash, just a single. So that's going to bring Zishan Maksud on strike, who's himself going at 33 of 25, striking at a good 130 odd.
So we see now 2 delivers remaining here in the 16th over. 115 runs on the board. So as of right now, that projected score that we keep talking about is now approaching 150. And that's the direction I think it will keep going. Coming down the wicket. Look at that. What a strike. Zishan Maksud right to the pitch, skipping down almost as if he was facing a spinner. Skipping down, meeting this one on the half volley and driving it down the ground for a lovely 4. It only went for 4 runs, but for me, that is a shot of the day, Munir. Just tremendous strike, skipping down to meet it on the half volley and straight as an arrow back down the ground for 4.
I will still maintain that that cannon that came into the camera was the shot of the day. I'm going to be watching replays of that a couple times at least this evening. Wow, what a player is Zishan Maksud. The moment he walked out, he got a measure of the bowling. First 10 balls or so, he was very conservative. Since then, he's been so expressive, and now he's bringing out the late cut. Misses out, but that delivery so easily could have gone over Joshua Traum for a boundary, but that brings over number 16 to an end. 119 for 3.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
All right, folks. It's September 3rd, a pleasant Sunday evening down here in Texas. Pleasant by Texas standards at 100 degrees. Scorchingly pleasant, I must add.
I was about to say, we have redefined the word pleasant. Speaking of pleasant, this is not going to be necessarily pleasant for Mohammad Mosin because it is now, he'll be facing up to his countryman Usman Shinwari. Shinwari, 2 overs bowled, none for 10, but bowling at express pace. But Mohammad Mosin, again, has full license to express himself here. 3 wickets down, so 119 runs on the board, only the last 18, make that the last 24 deliveries left in the innings. So one team is going to be looking to fight fire with fire.
And he goes back in his crease, but Usman Shinwari was smart enough to know what the intent was. He was looking to access the leg side. So the pace of Usman Shinwari, no matter how good these two are playing right now, it's not going to be easy taking him downtown and hit him straight down the ground.
It's not, and I don't think he's going to give you much to hit down the ground. You'll either get the typical short of length delivery, or you get the genuine bouncer, or you get the Yorker. It's not going to be the type of delivery that you can open up and go big down the ground. So you have to look at how fine the fielder at fine leg is, and I don't think you're going to get anything wide outside to where the deep fielder at deep third might be in play. It's going to be at the body of the batters, and it's going to either be short of length or genuine short ball or Yorker. Those are the options. And look how deep inside the crease Zishan Maksud is standing. He's almost standing on the stumps. This is going to be an interesting matchup.
And this one is dispatched from its presence, going deep in his crease to get that extra fraction of a second, Brian Walters, to play that pull shot. The giveaway was mid-off is inside the circle, and even the previous delivery was just back of length. Zishan Maksud is so intelligent. He knows the line of attack and the length of attack, and he came up with a game plan and executed it to perfection there.
I said about the fact that the fielder at deep third is on the boundary. I think that fielder is wasted. I don't think anything will be going in that direction. I think you need more coverage in the deep on the leg side. If that's the line and length that you're going to be bowling, deep third is wasted. You need more coverage on the leg side.
Let's see what Shinwari does, what kind of corrections he makes. In fact, he might be better off avoiding that body line, because Zishan is so good on deflections also. He can use the pace and nudge it. And this one, we said mid-off is inside the circle. Anything pitched up was a big risk. So 2 boundaries and a single 9 of 3. Usman Rafiq, your biggest trump card. You had a roll of dice, and he's going for a plenty as well.
Usman Shinwari getting that one just too full. Given the field that was set, given what his bowling options are, given the pace at which he bowls, the last ball that you'd expect is one floated up there for the drive. And that's exactly what that was. It was a very drivable delivery. I said earlier on this over that he was not going to give him anything to drive. Well, he proved me wrong. That, for me, is just a hit-me ball. And you don't need to give an invitation to Zishan Maksud, who's now on 45 from 29 balls faced with those 5 fours, 2 of them already in this over and 2 sixes.
This might be, I'll go on a limb and say, this might be one of the best passages of cricket we have seen all weekend. Internationals, PSL talents going full throttle at each other. And like you were saying, Brian, that third man was brought inside the circle. It was wasted when he was bowling that body line. But if he's going to go outside the stump and give him even the slightest of width, it could just fly off the edge and you would concede another boundary.
So certainly a new plan of attack, because long off is back on the boundary. 2 delivers left here in this over. So certainly you're planning to do something different. Maybe you're looking to go a little bit fuller and then something on the line of off stump, or maybe just outside. Sweeper out here in front of us is Matthew Trump. So I'm expecting something on the fuller side and maybe outside the line of off stump.
And it appears that Usman Shinwari is having issues with his landing on the crease. Zishan Maksud and Usman Rafiq helping out, getting things right. Mohammad Mosin is going to be on strike. There's not much of a change to the field, except the mid-off has also dropped all the way back now. So both boundary riders straight down the ground or right on the fence, very straight. And this one is a beautiful delivery. Seemed like he held it back just a little bit. Back of the palm kind of a delivery. Didn't drop the pace.
That was the back of the palm. It looked, certainly with long on and long off back, you're looking to bowl a fuller line, or maybe a fuller length, I'm sorry. and the wind has picked up in the last few minutes. So it's coming in very strong from the south. So again, if this ball is elevated down the ground by Mohamed Mosin, he'll be hitting into the wind. But yet another change, as this is now Karte Gatipale, who's being brought in off of the ropes at long off inside the circle. So not exactly sure, in fact, that's Mukhtar Ahmed, my apologies. But it almost seems like they have 5 or 6 different plans that they're all trying to execute all at once.
Reacting to every delivery at the moment are the Hurricanes, as this one comes in again. That's a better line in length. Usman Shinwari, the seasoned pro, making the adjustments. He didn't roll on his fingers on any of the deliveries, just that tight grip delays the release just ever so slightly as over number 17 comes to a close. It's 129 for 3. Don't go away. The last 3 overs are going to be action-packed. We'll be right back.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Well, what you suggested, Munir, and what I feared is that they're bringing Matthew Trump in to bowl in over number 18. This is a difficult position. Difficult position to put young Matthew Trump in, and I think his father, Brett Trump, agrees with me. Good result here from the first deliver, though. That is going to be, I believe, a leg by down to backward square leg. In fact, no signal from umpire Owen Brown. So he's brought in the 18th over. Never thought that would be the case. The young man, give him credit, has grabbed the bull by the horns, but he's bowling to 2 batters here who have full license to throw everything, including the kitchen sink, at these next 5 deliveries.
I reckon he'll have to bowl the 18th and even the 20th, but that would depend on how this over goes. Josh is up to the stumps, and this one is another good delivery, just slightly outside off stump. The fact that Josh is up to the stumps is going to deter these batsmen from using fancy footwork.
Yes.
That at least plays in favor of Matt.
Good 2 deliveries so far. 1 run from those 2. These are precious, precious economical deliveries. Because if you're Houston, you have to think we have to keep them under 140, 145. In the air, catchable. Nobody's going to be there, I don't think. No, landing short. Not much effort by that fielder down there on the boundary. Boy, it has to be said. Saif Badar down there at long off made his mind up. Oh, it was called as a no ball. Apologies, I missed that. It was a no ball and now free hit. That's probably why he didn't go charging in, as Matthew Trump overstepped the front crease, and that presents tons of trouble because now Matthew Trump is going to be bowling a free hit delivery to the man who is on 47 from 31 with 5 4s and 2 6s, Captain Zishan Maksud.
And since it's only a single on that delivery, Usman Rafiq can change his field, and he runs to Matthew to discuss if he needs any change in plans. Line of attack is going to be full and wide outside the off stump, and there it is. But this one is hurled to the leg side.
Boy.
Hamza Bangash is just going to keep it down to a single.
Got away with that. I'll tell you, that could have had trouble written all over it. So Matthew Trump gets out of the free hit situation, only conceding 1 run plus the additional run for the no ball. So still 3 deliveries left in the over. 4 runs conceded already, having included a no ball in the middle of all of that. Matthew Trump is lucky that he's only cost his team 4 runs, but he needs to be tight here.
And Mohamed Mosin is trying the reverse sweep, and it's given out. He lost his balance, and I'll tell you what, we'll take a look at this replay. Josh made a clean collection, and what I reckon was he waited for Mosin to lose his balance and stumble out of the crease. We'll take a look at this, but the Trom brothers have combined to get the big fish It's the wicket of the dangerous Mohammad Mosin.
Oh, Mohammad Mosin does not seem to think that he was out. What I think he's suggesting is that he was in the crease when the stumps were disturbed, but now he's changing his mind and walking off. So the wicket or the dismissal is effective. Look at this replay because you'll see here, Joshua Trump, you mentioned it, up to the stumps to his brother Matthew. Mosin going for the reverse sweep. What a brilliant piece of keeping to collect that ball and then going stumbling out of his crease.
This will give us a better angle, Brian.
Yeah, you certainly see it here. He goes stumbling out of his crease.
You'll see Josh delay that stumping ever so slightly. There.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's still very hard to tell, but umpire Owen Brown was very well positioned.
Actually,
in
that
fact,
was
Myron James.
Exactly. Now, the one thing that Matthew Trump is not going to want to see against his name is a stumping, because no fast bowler wants to think that the keeper was keeping up to him. But in the context of this game, it makes a huge difference. And now, so with the wicket having fallen, the new batter coming in is the first righty in a really long time.
Since
or is
Rizwan
it?
Cheema. Yeah, that's
Yeah, it is a righty. And I'll have to identify exactly who this is. It was a big wicket to fall. There's no doubt. Again, going to Matthew Trump at this stage created a lot of difficulty, but this is Waqar Salim who is in to bat at number 6. 133 for 4 with two balls remaining here in the 18th.
And this one was nicely driven, and Hamza has some work to do. A dive? Perhaps not. It was evading him at sweeper cover, and that's a good boundary to start proceedings by Waqar Salim. It was a really good over until this point. Only 4 runs conceded. Now the penultimate ball goes for a 4, and Matt would need to get out strong.
Well, having gotten to the 5th delivery in over number 18, having only conceded 8 runs and taken a wicket, I think if you gave him that at the beginning of this over, he would have taken it. But remember, there is a no ball, and with the no ball was the extra delivery. So this delivery coming up is the extra delivery. Can Michigan cash in on this extra ball? Slower through the air and played into the offside for a single. That is Hamza Bangash on the boundary. Coming off the boundary, fires it 1 bounce to Josh Trump. So a good over. In the context of this game, a really good over. Bowled here by Matthew Trump. I think he may have just earned himself over number 20. Don't know if that's good or bad. 18 up, scores 138 for 4.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need one hand on the roof, one hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go rewards, when you fuel, you save, because rewards come first.
.138 for 4. The Michigan Cricket Stars are scoring at the rate of 7.67 and over. They've hit 13 fours and 6 sixes, much of that in the second half of this innings. We still have 2 overs remaining, the last 12 balls. Zishan Maksud, the captain, is at the non-striker's end. Usman Shinwari, high speed, but got knocked around a lot. 10 runs in his last over. And Zishan Maksud standing on, looking on, while Waqar Salim takes strike to Usman Shinwari.
I'll tell you what, with 2 overs to go, and the way Zishan Maksud is going, he's approaching his 50, he's batting on 48, and Waqar Salim has hit the ground running. The Hurricanes, with 12 balls to go, they need to be wary of this total. 138 already, another 20 runs gets it to that par score mark, just about. And we all know Hurricanes aren't a great chasing team, as this is nicely played by Waqas. They'll keep it down to just 1 run, and that's going to bring back Zishan Maksud on strike, and they'll resume that rivalry from the previous over.
Zishan Maksud is essentially standing inches away from the stumps, both feet well inside the crease, staying as deep as possible in the crease so that the deliveries that would be Yorker length are drivable. That's the reason why you would do that. And both long on and long off are back on the boundary. Matthew Trump is sweeping on the offside. There's also a sweeper, make that a fielder, a deep square leg. And all sorts of scrambling around because you know that Zishan Maksud is in his element. The odds are in his favor to go on toward his 50 here. And the Houston Hurricanes are well and truly on the back foot.
And this one might be down the leg side. Couldn't tell from the side-on angle, so it probably went over the top of the stumps, and umpire Myron James lets that go.
See on the replay. Let's see where this goes. Left arm over the wicket. Oh no, it passes over the top of off stump. So he was just late on that attempted swipe. Zishan Maksud, not often you'll see him getting beaten for pace. 48 not out against his name. 33 runs, make that 33 balls faced. 5 fours and 2 sixes.
Yeah, that was the perfect delivery which you want to bowl at this stage. If you're not going for a Yorker and you don't want to err on length and give away something down the ground, you just keep it back of length over the top of the stumps. And this one is straight up in the air. Usman Rafiq is backtracking, but Usman Shinwari calls for it and he completes the catch. Slightly misjudged. And he was in a very odd position, but he does complete the catch. Ends up on his back. But more importantly, they have taken the huge wicket, which could probably be the difference of 10 to 15 runs in the final score, Brian.
You're probably right. I said earlier that bowlers never drop their own catches. He was never going to drop this. Even if he was flat on his back, having slightly misjudged it, he was never going to drop it. Goes in the air a mile. Had ice on it when it came down probably, but still in a good position eventually to catch it. Slightly misjudging it, so had to reach back over his back a little bit, Usman Shinwari, but finally completing the catch. A big wicket that. I think you're right when you say 10 to 15 runs difference potentially in the final score. Zishan Maksud goes back 48 from 34 with 5 fours and 2 sixes. He accelerated his team toward a competitive total. Did he do enough will be the question.
Yeah, missed out on a well-deserved half century, but he entertained us some beautiful stroke play in his stay at the crease. Thing about Usman Shinwari, being a big unit, big fast bowler, overseas pro, he puts in a lot of work in the field as well. I've seen him field straight down the ground, those difficult positions, always on his toes, and even on that occasion, called nice and early. Usman Rafiq was also converging in, but Usman Shinwari, the moment that ball went up in the air, he screamed mine and completed the catch.
He was never going to drop that. Absolutely. Under the circumstances, you're not going to ever be the person who dropped Zishan Maksud, and especially not to your own bowling. So the new batter is in. Ali Nasir on strike. Oh, here's a quick delivery. Another left-hander. And late on the shot is Ali Nasir. So good over this in progress by Usman Shinwari. 1 run coming from it so far. Has taken a wicket and putting on the brakes on the attack for the Michigan Cricket Stars. Houston Hurricanes trying to claw back into this game at the last several deliveries of this innings.
These last 3 deliveries from Shinwari are worth their weight in gold. Just that perfect death bowling, back of length, rising up. Very difficult to get those away and even make contact. Even if you try to get underneath them, you'll have the same fate as Zishan Maksud as he comes in again. And same thing again, but unfortunately, third man was inside the circle, but that's a great effort by the fielder there. Tracks back about 30 meters and pulls it back just inside the boundary. That's the kind of effort you want to see if you're a Hurricane.
That's the effort that you want to see. With the pace that which Usman Shinwari is bowling, that ball that was attempted to be played through mid-wicket ended up almost going for 6 over deep third. But that is an excellent effort down there. There you see a brilliant piece of work. That is Usman Ashraf, who does well to pull that ball back. Athletic piece of fielding, saves 2 runs for his side. Now the last ball to be bowled here by Usman Shinwari.
Yeah, that's the only way this could work. It could fly off the edges and give them lucky boundaries behind the wicket, but it's going to be very difficult to make contact. And
Oh,
I'll
where's
have
that
my
gone? Look at this.
foot in my mouth. That's gone about 75 to 80 meters. Usman Shinwari pitched it up this time, almost a half volley, and it was the invitation was there for Ali Nasir to play that shot. In fact, it wasn't that full. It's still like a half tracker. So Ali Nasir did pretty well to get it up and over that fielder at deep mid wicket, and it goes for a big six. End of the over. At the end of 19, the Michigan Cricket Stars are 147 for 5. We'll be right back with Matthew Traum bowling the final over of the innings.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस, इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Last over coming up. Matthew Trump with the ball in hand coming from the forest end. 19 overs bowled, 147 runs for 5. The Houston Hurricanes have to be thinking 155. We do not want to be chasing anything over 156. Michigan Cricket Stars have an excellent bowling lineup, and Mohamed Mosin himself will be difficult to score against on this wicket. Here's Matthew Trump in the air and 4, just outside off, too far outside off, giving room to Waka Salim. He just opens to Waka Salim, opens his shoulders up and hits that over extra cover for a boundary to start 20th.
Yeah, and if you were Matthew Trump when you signed up, you wouldn't have expected the role of a death bowler, bowling to former internationals, current internationals, and MLS and PSL players. But such is the nature of the beast, which is T20 cricket. When you're called upon by the captain to deliver, you just have to put your best foot forward. And of what we know of Matthew Trump, Brian, he would be looking to make amends and get his line right. And he does so. In fact, umpire Owen Brown is going to be rather critical of Matthew. He's not happy with the decision. Loud grunt for him. And it was barely just outside that marker, it seems. We'll look at that again in the replay.
Of course, that wide line is not an absolute. It's a guideline. The umpire has final say over whether or not that ball should be adjudged to be wide. Umpire Owen Brown adjudging that one to be wide. So a rough start to the over here for Matthew Trump. Now this one, again, outside off. And I think this one was even wider than the previous one. Matthew Trump trying to keep that ball out of the hitting zone of Waka Salim, but that's not working out for him so far. Trying to keep it full and wide, but it's a little too wide. I don't know that he doesn't just bowl a Yorker on leg stump. It would be really difficult to get that away for more than one run. Even if it's a low full toss, that's better than what he's attempting now, because there's no coverage in the deep on the offside, say in the arc between deep third and point. So it's taking a risk bowling those types of deliveries, and that one is slapped down the ground. The sound that made off the bat, it actually goes over the side screen. That is as big a 6 as you'll see in this match. And 12 runs off of the first 2 legal deliveries in this 20th over. This is not going well for the Houston Hurricanes.
Yeah, and problem with that delivery was it was nearly a half volley right in the slot. So there was only going to be one outcome. And he made such sweet contact. He didn't even follow the flight of the ball. That Waka Salim was marking his guard as the ball was airborne. Just such confidence. And Matthew Trump went around the wicket. I was going to say the best place to target him, like you said, Brian Walters, would be those shoelaces. And
it's hard to hit a Yorker on leg stump for 6. And what you're trying to do now at this stage of the innings is bowl any delivery that cannot get hit for 6. So I don't know that Matthew Trump doesn't just target the base of leg stump from over or around the wicket. Doesn't really matter. The idea is to keep it out of the hitting zone of the batters.
Yeah, 12 of this over so far. 4 deliveries to go, and again he goes slightly wide of off stump. No signal from Owen Brown
There's the
until
signal.
now. So that's the 3rd wide in the over.
I understand what he's trying to do, keeping it wide of the batter. But once again, I think that strategy under these circumstances carries more risks than potential rewards. An edge will fly in the deep for runs potentially because there's nobody in the deep on that side. Skied in the air. It stays in the air for an eternity. What a beautiful catch. Came running in off the boundary and takes that probably right inside the 30-yard circle. That's Kartik Gatepale. Absolutely brilliant catch. Came running all the way in, and you see the reaction that Matthew Trump had. It was more anger than celebration, hurling his fist down because he knows that that's a big wicket. Has too much damage already been done, though.
Yeah, he deserved that, Matthew Trump. As we look at the replay, again, that line of attack was from around the stumps. Wasn't back of length, neither was it a Yorker. It was again in that half volley kind of a place. He would consider himself lucky to get away with that. Waqas Salim is gonna kick himself for not being able to put that away. But Kartik Gatapalli, what an effort, ran about 30 yards, even more, from the boundary and completed that catch. Matthew Trump will take it because it's a very lonely place after you're hit for a 6 and you're walking back to your bowling marker.
After having bowled 3 wides in the over. So the new batter is in. Matthew Trump in now with the 4th delivery of the innings. Slower delivery, and it's launched over the head of Kartik Gatepale at square leg for yet another 6. So an expensive over continues. 19 runs from the over with 2 balls to come. And boy, the batter is Sheikh, and his first delivery, Cameron Sheikh, first delivery right in the slot where he wants it, and it is hoisted away over mid-wicket for yet another 6.
I'm not surprised that Michigan Cricket Stars have had such a run in this season. They were top of their table, and Chicago Kingsmen just took over to the first place. The batsmen keep coming at you. Kamran Sheikh has played first-class circuit in India, is very accomplished batter, and they'll be looking for 2 runs on this occasion. Karthik converges on it. Left-handed pickup, the throw comes in, but they complete easy 2 runs. So 8 of 2 deliveries for Kamran Sheikh. He's a powerhouse, built like a tank, and he packs a punch.
Well, Matthew Trump has already bowled 6 balls in this over. Unfortunately, 3 of them were wide, so he still has another ball left to bowl. And so these extra balls are being very expensive. Here's the last ball, in theory, of the over, of the innings rather, and they'll end up getting away with just a single. So a sedate end to what was an extremely expensive over. He did get 1 wicket, Matthew Trump, but 22 runs come from that over. That is the end of things here in the first innings. 169 for 6 is the score. Take us through the rest of it, Mr. Munir Majid.
It's been an innings of 2 halves. The first 10 overs, the run rate was under 6 an over. They got 56 of the first 10. And the next 10 have gone for 114 runs. It was a steady opening start between Rizwan Cheema and Nicholas Kirton. But after Cheema got out, he was joined by Raza Ali, who was quickly dismissed as well. But they started to change gears the moment Zishan Maqsood walked into the middle, built up a decent partnership with Nicholas Kirton after Kirton departed to Usman Rafiq. But Mohammad Mosin joined Zishan Maqsood, and it was only one-way traffic from that point onwards. Every bowler was getting dispatched for boundaries and 6s, one after the other. Usman Rafiq slipped in a decent over for 3 runs around the 13th over mark, but after that, there were more fireworks. And the Michigan Cricket Stars completed their innings at 169 for 6. 11 extras also in that innings, which the Hurricanes won't be happy with. And we look at the bowling card now. The bowling was opened by, not surprisingly, Usman Shinwari, who bowled good 2 overs up front in the power play. And he was well supported by Hassan Rashid, who bowled out his first 4 overs, over number 2, 4, 6, and 8. picked up a couple of wickets. Usman Rafiq would be the pick of the bowlers, was pretty good when he came on, 4 overs for 19 and the wicket. Hamza Bangash was decent in his first couple of overs, but he got taken apart, went for 32. Karthik Gattapalli had 2 decent overs, but he was not going to be bowled, while the 2 left-handers, Zishan Maqsood and Mohammad Mosin, were going all guns blazing. The leg spinner Usman Ashraf coming into the team today, and he conceded 19 of his only overs, and Matthew Tromp was handed the responsibility of bowling the crucial 18th and 20th overs in the death. Picked up a couple of wickets, but his second over went for 22 runs. So the Houston Hurricanes, when they come out to bat, they're going to be chasing an above par 170 runs off 20 overs with a required rate of 8.5. The Hurricanes have their work cut out, and we will be joining you after a 10-minute interruption. We'll look at the highlights, and that's the shot of the day as far as I'm concerned. Zishan Maqsood came down to Karthik Gattapalli, almost got our cameraman straight down the ground, and as you see, there's some repair work being done at the crease. They're trying to fix those landing marks, and I'll join you in about 15 minutes with Brian Walters as we resume the chase for the Houston Hurricanes. Recognized players out of Canada, and as you see again, if he's getting that exaggerated swing, he cannot afford to start outside again. And this is down the leg side, and this would be dispatched. And this one has caught him on the helmet. Hassan Rashid is back inside, and he steps down the ground, and Karthik.
Why you might not make that move. Look at that shot over the top. That's what you expect from.
And this one, I was saying that if the length is slightly back, and that one is again, he's gonna have a second wicket, and he does.
Oh, look at that. That is an amazing shot. That is a
moved to Oman and has been playing a lot of his cricket. As this one, Mukhtar has a shy at the stumps. Would have. And this one is slightly short, and Karthik may have had 35 for him. And this one is very nicely played. It's in the gap between those 2 fielders. And this one is very full in the arc. Karthik is going to continue, and Zishan Ashraf, that's the shot of the day. And again, a quicker one. He hasn't gotten underneath it, and it's that man Matthew Tromp. He's not the plans of Usman. This one is short. It's going to go only one way. You cannot bowl there. And this one is played inside out. 1 bounce, 4. And this one is dispatched from its presence, going deep in his crease. Also, he can use the pace and nudge it. And this one, we said mid-off is inside the circle. Anything pitched up was
right here.
And Mohammad Mosin is trying. And this one was nicely driven, and Hamza has some work to do. A dive, perhaps not. And this one is straight up in the air. Usman Rafiq is backtracking, but Usman Shinwari calls for it, and he comes. Shan Maqsood as he comes in again, and same thing again, but unfortunately, third man was able to make contact, and I'll have my
look at this
foot in my mouth.
That's Trump in the air and 4, just outside off, too far outside off, giving room. It's taking a risk bowling those types of deliveries, and that one is slapped down the ground. The sound that made off the bat, it actually goes over deep on that side. Skied in the air. It stays in the air for an eternity. What a beautiful catch. Came running in off the boundary.
You're watching the Sunoco Minor League Cricket Championship, brought to you by our 2023 partners.
Welcome back to the Prairie View Cricket Complex. Houston has a chase on their hands. They need 170 runs in 120 balls, and it will not be easy. Mukhtar Ahmed and Hassan Shah are the openers for the Hurricanes. Mukhtar Ahmed on strike, and he'll be taking first delivery from the forest end. Michigan Cricket Stars looking to attack with that big score on the board. First delivery is clipped down the leg side. That's going to be a single. Mukhtar Ahmed off the mark immediately, and in fact they come back looking for two. That's a good sign. You're looking to see signs of aggression, not necessarily hostility or recklessness this early in the innings, Munir Majid. But Mukhtar Ahmed and the Houston Hurricanes have a big task on their hands.
Welcome back to all the listeners. It's going to be quite some chase. It's a big total they're chasing, 170. And yeah, you're right, Brian. I'll come to that. Oh, look at that. Mukhtar Ahmed has hit the ground running. Needs no invitation. Just glorious swing of the bat. A lot of room on offer, and he dispatches it to the cover boundary. And rightly said, Brian. We look at this replay.
Look at the replay. A little bit of width outside off stump. There, very wide. In fact, it started wide and swung wider, and an easy invitation to a batter like Mukhtar Ahmed, who is naturally very aggressive, and then given the situation, he knows that his team needs a good start here in the power play, so easy to, or happy to cash in on that type of delivery.
And he can afford to be aggressive, but being ultra-aggressive might be his downfall. He has picked up 6 runs in the first 2 deliveries, and there's a little exchange, the bowler and the batsman.
Well, what happened was the big swing and a miss, and it went through to the keeper, and then the keeper had a shot at the stumps, missed the stumps, but hit Mukhtar Ahmed himself. So that might have irritated Mukhtar, and then maybe the bowler on his follow-through probably saying something that Mukhtar took the wrong way. Very high-stakes match this. The Houston Hurricanes are playing at home. Michigan Cricket Stars, the top-ranked team in the division, looking to try to stamp their authority on things. He short ball, not unexpected given that exchange, but is punched away in the deep. Mukhtar Ahmed has his second boundary of the day.
Yeah, if you bowl short to Mukhtar Ahmed, you should be aware that he's so strong on the pull. And as we see that replay, it's almost a half tracker. So a lot of time for Mukhtar, although it's outside the off stump, but he's somebody who's very good with he's capable of dragging the ball from outside the off stump, and he knows there's that big gap to the right of mid-on. There's a deep square leg, so a lot of real estate on offer and a welcome boundary. So the Hurricanes are up and running, 10 runs.
First 4 deliveries of the over, 10 runs. Oh, brute of a ball. Extra bounce, takes the glove, flies down to deep third for a single. That's a moral victory for the bowler, Abul Hassan Raju, getting that ball to spit off of the deck. Here we see on the replay, look at this ball, pitching on the length and then misbehaving slightly there and just barely fending it off. Luckily that for Mukhtar Ahmed, that didn't go toward the slip fielder. That would have been a very easy catch to Zishan Maksud standing at slip.
I like the look of Abul Hassan Raju. Now he's going to be bowling to Hassan Shah, who's facing his first delivery in this edition of the minor league and starts off pretty confidently following the swing of that ball and just gently caressing it to point. Good start for the Hurricanes. At the end of 1, they're 11 for no loss.
What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
We're back live. Over number 2 is about to resume. A positive start from Houston Hurricanes, but they'll have to stay positive. It's a big chase. You brought up the point about the approach in the power play. The Michigan Cricket Stars mustered only 56 runs in the first 10 overs and then exploded in the final 10. So that tells you there are runs on offer if you apply yourself, but at the same time when you're chasing and you have a history of screwing up chases which you were well placed, pardon my French, but as far as the Hurricanes are concerned, they can't leave as many runs in the final 10. They have to make sure that they keep up with this run rate and don't fall too far behind, as Mohammad Kamal is the new bowler who's going to be bowling from the Highway 290 end.
Left arm over. We've spoken before about the angle left arm over to the right-handers. Very full, outside off, and adjudged to be wide by umpire Myron James. Bonus runs. If you're looking to defend 170, you want the opposition to score those runs off the bat. You do not want to help them. And so you're giving away an extra run here. Might not sound like much, but it does allow you to bowl extra deliveries, which your captain will not like and which does not help your cause.
Rightly said, Brian, as the next delivery comes in, and this is played inside out. And does it carry all the way? It seems to have. Just before that delivery on that wide ball, the next comment I was insinuating was that Mukhtar Ahmed would really like the look of this bowler. Gentle medium pace coming from left arm over. That angle is going to open up access to inside-out shots, and that's what he does. So Mukhtar Ahmed is a dangerous batsman.
If you are bowling left arm over, the idea behind the idea behind bowling over the wicket is that you're creating an angle that slants the ball across the right-hander. But that assumes that it's going to be at sort of short of a length type delivery, where it threatens the outside edge potentially going onto the slips. If you're bowling that angle with a full ball outside off stump, what just happened is what you can expect to happen. A batter like like Mukhtar Ahmed is not going to miss out on those types of opportunities.
Long on has dropped back now. And this is a better angle, but Myron James had a second thought about that, lets it go, so that's a dot ball. Well left by Mukhtar.
Oh. Long on is back. Long off is still inside the circle. He's at mid-off. So a similar type of delivery to the second delivery of this match will end up in the same direction. He was attempting the same shot there, same length type of ball. This one missing the outside edge and sailing through to wicket keeper Ali Nasir.
Of the look of that first delivery, we reckon that Mohammad Kamal might be a gentle medium pacer, but he has turned up the pace just a little bit in the last couple of deliveries, especially this one was at a decent notch. So Mukhtar needs to keep an eye on that as well. And this one is slightly back of length, and he cannot bowl him there. As his colleague Abul Hassan Raju would tell him, he was also dispatched down that side of the ground. And the same is the fate of Mohammad Kamal. He needs to get this right. He has gone for 11 runs so far in just 3 legal deliveries. 4, in fact.
Bearing in mind what the status is, and we'll look at 2 numbers the rest of the way. We'll look at the required rate and we'll look at the actual run rate. The required rate to win this match from here for the Houston Hurricanes is 8.07. They're scoring right now at the rate of 13.2. You don't anticipate that they'll score 13.2 throughout the entirety of their innings. But what this does is gives you a good impetus to the innings. It generates some momentum at the top of the innings, and it definitely puts Michigan on the back foot. So if you're Houston, you want this onslaught to continue as long as you can, taking advantage of the power play overs. If you get through the power play with something around 60, 65 runs, from that point onward, if you're Houston, you're happy chasing around 100 runs to go in the next 14. That sort of setup is what they want to do.
Oh, this is beautifully driven. I was going to say that the only 2 men they're allowed outside the circle are both on the leg side. I somehow don't see that long on being in play. It has to be a really foolish half volley on the pads, and even that would be clipped more towards square and fine leg. they might be better off giving him some protection inside out. Every fielder on the offside is inside the ring. Left arm over the line of attack should be angling it across Mukhtar and giving him protection towards cover as he comes in again. And this is guided. This is becoming easy pickings. Mukhtar Ahmed, he's raced on to 29 of 11 deliveries.
Oh my goodness, look at this. You will love this when you see the replay. That was effortless. No flourish in the shot at all. He more guided this than hit it. Just there opening the face, getting it square of that fielder backward point, and the ball races to the boundary. Speaking of races, the Houston Hurricanes have raced ahead to 30 runs from 2 overs. At the end of 2, the score is 30 without loss.
So we're back in the 3rd over. No surprise there. Going by the way the proceedings have progressed. The first 2 overs yielding 30 runs, and I was going to say that it might be not too late before spin is thrown into the mix. And it's not the man we expected. Mohammad Mosin has been held back, but Zishan Maqsood has come into the attack. Played a sparkling innings of 48 runs, and now he has the ball in his hand. Here he comes from the forest end, bowling to Ehsan Shah. Ehsan Shah has been deprived of the strike, hasn't had much to say, has been a mere spectator from the other end. Still yet to get off the mark.
Faced 2 deliveries so far, Ehsan Shah, including that one that he defended there from the captain, Zishan Maqsood. Oh, lofted in the deep, but not far enough. Sprinting off the boundary and diving. Did he take that catch? What a spectacular catch taken. That fielded deep mid-wicket, comes in 30 yards and a dead sprint. Dives forward and takes that catch 6 inches off the ground. The first wicket falls. This is absolute high-class cricket. They say catches win matches. Does that mean that the Michigan Cricket Stars have taken the first step towards winning this match? That is the end of Ehsan Shah. None from 3. The Houston Hurricanes are 30 for 1.
But look at that replay again. You must have seen a lot of catches over this long weekend. 38 games, but I wonder if you'll see anything as good as this. Ehsan Shah going across the line, gets a thick top edge, and that ball was very high up in the air, and a diving full length effort. Big stretch from the fielder on that occasion, and that brings about the downfall of Ehsan Shah. And Brian, as far as the
Waka Salim with that catch, stupendous effort.
Yeah, he ran in about a good 30 yards and dived full stretch. At one point, it seemed both fielders who were converging were going to give up on that ball. But Waqat Salim had different ideas. So, Brian, as far as the Hurricanes are concerned, when you have somebody going like Mukhtar is at the moment, you just want players to bat around him and support him. And the only thing that's going to break his rhythm and put pressure on Mukhtar himself is fall of wickets. Ehsan Shah hasn't even got off the mark, had faced just 2 deliveries. He's a senior partner. He is 1 in a million kind of a batsman. Just need to take singles. Don't try and match him. You won't be able to do that on even your best day. Just rotate the strike and keep good company. And this power play is going to be so important. Joshua Tromp is the new batsman who has walked in at number 3. And he's going to join Mukhtar Ahmed. I'll say based on this season's stats, Brian, this is the best pair, best case scenario, although there's Saf Badr to follow. But Joshua Tromp and Mukhtar Ahmed have been amongst the runs, and the Hurricanes want this pair to bat as deep as possible in this innings. Josh has taken strike to Zishan Maqsood, and he's slightly opened up by the turn and loop in that delivery. No harm done, just defends it back for a dot ball.
One of Joshua Trump's favorite scoring areas is extra cover. You'll see that immediately long off is dropping back, and he's in fact in a very wide long off position, almost at deep extra cover, because they know, especially with the left-hander turning the ball away from Joshua Trump, that's the area that he tends to favor the most. Oh, thick inside edge. Look out here. Shy at the non-strikers, and is not going to be in time, and in fact that will give them the chance to run through for a second run. So Josh Trump, not the most assured of shots, but he is off the mark.
And off the mark he is with a couple of runs. So slightly nervy,
Yep,
Josh. But we know how well he settles in, and once he does, he can cause some serious damage.
see there that Zishan Maksud pushed the fielder at deep cover wider. Well, that's a more confident looking stroke. Punches it down to Waka Salim on the boundary there, coming off the ropes, where he just took the most spectacular of catches to turn the tide in what had been a rollicking start so far for the Houston Hurricanes. One ball remaining here in the third. And look, again, I said we're going to keep track of those two numbers, the required rate and the actual rate. The required rate is still well below the actual run rate. So they're doing well from the standpoint of how quickly they're scoring. The question to be asked is, will they keep losing regular wickets with that first one?
And this time Mukhtar Ahmed goes down the ground. Long on has a chance to catch this. He's under the ball and he takes the catch. That is a huge, huge wicket in the context of this game. And Houston Hurricanes, they were off to a positive start, and within the space of 6 balls, they've lost 2 batsmen. Kirton, the catcher there, pulls the curtains on the innings of Mukhtar Ahmed, and shock waves through the ranks of the Hurricanes, Brian.
That may be the dangerous, dreaded commentator's curse again. The run rate is fine. You don't need to do that. And he just lofted what very much is a straightforward catch. Nicholas Kirton had a long way to come, but it has to be said that catch or that shot was ill-advised by Mukhtar Ahmed. A good start, and they had the run rate well under control. The only thing that defeats them at this case, or at this point, is wickets. The second wicket is down. The score is 33 for 2.
Over number 4 about to commence, and there's more spin being introduced in the form of Raza Ali Dar. If we're reading the script correctly, the Michigan Cricket Stars are going to use a lot of spin. As many as 12 to 15 overs of spin can be expected during the course of this innings, unlike the Hurricanes, who weren't able to bowl their spinning options given the left-handed heavy batting lineup of the Michigan Cricket Stars. So not just on the field but also strategically, the Cricket Stars have topped the Hurricanes in this game, Brian.
Left arm spin going back into his crease. I don't know that Josh Trump wants to do that very often. A judge not out. But you're seeing a high level of cricket IQ being displayed by the captain Zishan Maksud. Reacting immediately, the Pacers opening Pacers went for 30 between them. Immediately switches to spin. Doesn't matter to him that it's inside the power play with no protection or very little protection in the deep. He still made the choice to go to left arm spin himself, and now Raza Ali Dar. This is pounded down the ground square and fielded deep down here on the boundary just for a single. My goodness, this is Cameron Sheikh with a good piece of fielding in the deep, but runs are starting to dry up, and those 2 wickets that have fallen will have a debilitating effect on the momentum that was generated at the top of this innings. Question to be asked is, can these batters dig themselves in and be positive without being aggressive? Because you still have a pretty steep chase ahead of you. Let's see how they go from here.
And a little bit of confusion. Seth Badr wanted to get off the mark. As far as the Hurricanes are concerned, they've got to rely on their strengths. They've got a heavy middle order, which maybe to their liking hasn't fired, but the likes of Seth Badr, Hamza Bangash, Usman Rafiq, Usman Ashraf, a lot of decent batsmen. They've just got to take it deep and believe that if they face the 20 overs, Brian, they'll get there.
The problem is that they've not yet shown an ability to handle situations like this. How do you eat an elephant? An elephant one bite at a time. They've tried to eat the elephant all in one bite. They've not been successful so far. And I wouldn't mind seeing them just tell themselves, look, knock it around, get ones and twos. And if we go into the last 4 overs needing 53, 54 runs, then we'll give ourselves a chance at the end. They've seemed to want to do it all at once. That approach has not worked well for them so far.
And that's nicely driven by Seth Badr back to the bowler. The over comes to an end. Only 6 of the last 2 overs with 2 wickets. At the end of 4, the Hurricanes are 36 for 2.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
All right, no surprises there. It's going to be Zishan Maqsood to continue. He picked up 2 wickets in his very first over, 3 for 2 his figures right now, and Joshua Tromp is looking to take him down. He's going to play his natural game. He won't be bothered by the situation. The young man, he's been allowed to express himself and play the way and the only way he knows how to play, and that is positive, aggressive cricket. And this one is straight up in the air as well. And long off is going to get a measure of this, and he is gone as well. The Houston Hurricanes can't seem to put a foot right when it comes to chasing big totals. And with that, one of their most important batsmen, Joshua Tromp, who has been amongst the runs this season, he also departs in similar manner to how Ehsan Shah and Mukhtar Ahmed went, all 3 of them trying to eye the long boundary and perishing in the deep.
I understand what Joshua Trump was aiming at. The square leg is on the boundary, and there is no one else in the leg side in the deep. So there's acres of room outside between square leg and long off. But given that field, you still have to try to hit the right ball. Try to drag this one from well outside off, and trying to drag it over in that part of the field is a pretty stiff ask. And once again, Josh Trump's favorite scoring area is going to be extra cover. Extra cover was covered. There was a man there, and he tried too much, I think, to pull that ball around to the leg side, ending up just skying a pretty simple catch to long off. Another body blow. Absolute body blow here for the Houston Hurricanes. Joshua Trump only scores 5 from 7. The score is now 36 for 3.
2 left-arm orthodox spinners who will be turning the ball away from the right-handers, and then the wrist spin of Mohammad Mosin. And all right-handers from top to bottom, barring Karthik Gadapalli, who bats at number 8. It's not going to be an easy task, and you cannot just take these bowlers downtown. The ball is going to turn. Matthew Tromp is the new batsman, replaces brother Joshua. He's going to face up to Zishan Maqsood, and that's a better approach, playing the ball to its merit.
Boy, How much has this game changed in the last 2 overs? Make that 2.3 overs. From 30 without loss to 36 for 3. Floated up, driven into the offside, no run. The captain, Zishan Maksud, has made the tactical change that has dried up the runs and started taking wickets. And the Houston Hurricanes are not helping themselves with, frankly, some injudicious shots. Appeal for a leg before, not given. Believe 1 ball remaining here in the over. And how much have these changes that have been made by Zishan Maksud impacted this game? The Houston Hurricanes are well and truly on the back foot. In fact, at this stage, on the ropes. Half-hearted appeal. Owen Brown shakes his head, not out, but that is a wicket maiden, if you can believe it. A spinner inside the power play, bowling a wicket maiden. Zishan Maksud is on fire. 2 overs, 3 wickets, 3 runs. Absolute brilliant bowling by the captain. And the Hurricanes are staggering, 36 for 3.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need 1 hand on the roof, 1 hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go rewards, when you fuel, you save because rewards come first.
Welcome back to the Prairie View Cricket Complex. This is the Sunoco Minor League Cricket Championship 2023. Official partner of minor leagues is Lakshmi. Minor League Cricket's Cricket for the Community partner is Brew. And Dolphin Media is MILC's outdoor partner. This matchup here, Central Division between the Houston Hurricanes and the Michigan Cricket Stars. And the Houston Hurricanes, after a quick start, have been made to look rather common for the last 3 overs and 1 ball by the double twin spin attack of Zishan Maksud and Raza Ali Dar. Next delivery flicked into the deep by Saif Badar. 1, make that 2 now from 5. Matthew Trump scoreless from 4 balls faced. And Munir, this game has changed 180 degrees in the last 3 overs.
Absolutely, Brian. 30 runs in the first 2 overs and then 7 runs in the next 3 for the loss of 3 wickets.
Wow.
And what's more crucial is the contrasting difference between seam and spin. Opposite ends of the spectrum. The ball is now gripping, it's turning, and the Hurricanes are failing to read the script and just looking to deposit the bowlers into the wilderness and have perished in the process. They got to be smart. They have to play these spinners to their merit, like Matthew did on that occasion. 2 left-arm spinners, like I said, are going to be turning the ball away and giving it a lot of air. And then there's Mohammad Mosin to come, who in himself is a spinner and a half, if you ask me.
Well, again, you can be positive without being overly aggressive. You can push the ball into the gaps against the spinners, run 1s and 2s. There will be scoring opportunities all around the ground for you to do that, particularly inside the power play. There's nothing wrong with the approach that Matthew Trump is taking right now. Yes, he's eaten up a few balls, has yet to get off the mark. But if you have wickets in hand, that's what you want. You want to chase going into the last several overs with a handful of overs or with a handful of wickets still in the hutch and with the ability to express yourself toward the back end of the innings. The approach that the Houston Hurricanes have taken here is mystifying. And unfortunately, I feel that if we had a win predictor, it would be pointing squarely in the direction of the Michigan Cricket Stars right now. It's the end of 6. The score is 37 for 3.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
The blue township or the red township, which side are you on? If you go by the trend, it's almost a mirror image that the Michigan Cricket Stars finished their innings so strong, and the Hurricanes started their innings so strong. But the middle overs was where things were rather barren and there wasn't much happening. And the Hurricanes, the way they have thrown this away in the last couple of overs, last 3 overs, in fact 4, there was a maiden over in between. So last 4 overs, they barely scored any runs. 7 runs in the last 4 overs and 3 wickets lost. They'll have to be intelligent from this point on. They would have to make sure they don't gift any more wickets. All 3 wickets have been taken by Zishan Maqsood, and he has bowled 2 overs. So he's going to bowl 2 more overs, and then they've also got 4 overs from Mosin to negotiate. Saif Badr gets that front foot nicely planted to the pitch of the ball and defends it.
That graphic was so telling. You could see the consistent acceleration. It's almost as though you're driving into, to continue our analogy from earlier, it's almost like you're driving into the downtown area where the buildings got progressively larger toward the end. And contrast that with the red buildings, if you will, were 2 big spikes initially and then nothing but bungalows after that. So that tells you a lot about the mentality of each of these teams.
And after quite some time, there's a run that's been scored off the bat. Saif Badr gets across and passes it on to Matthew Tromp. The role of Saif Badr, Brian, becomes so much more crucial. He's one of the senior players in this team, very accomplished batsman. Now, he needs to step up and make sure there are people batting around him. And they get this home for the Hurricanes, and that's a nice run single, good understanding between the two.
A little bit of extra bounce that surprised Matthew Trump, but he still did well to keep it down. And then to be able to generate a run out of that becomes a bonus. But I take your point very much about Saif Badr. A lot is on his shoulders now. And he knows that he has to remain aggressive. That's a good-looking shot into the outfield. Just 1 run, though. He knows that he needs to be aggressive because the run rate that is required, I said keep an eye on both those numbers. Well, the actual rate has been surpassed emphatically by the required rate. The actual rate now down to 5.8. In fact, 5.8 now, the required rate is 9.87. So there has been a big switch in momentum there as evidenced by the required rate and the run rate. And this is Matt Trump just getting that one, dropping it down to mid-wicket for a single. 4 runs from that over from the captain, Zishan Maqsood. 3 overs bowled so far. 3 for 7 with a maiden. All of his overs inside the power play. Absolutely brilliant. In fact, all except for that last one. But brilliant bowling from the captain. The Houston Hurricanes are struggling again, 41 for 3.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
Yeah, we're back live in over number 8 of this innings. You saw that positive start by the Hurricanes, and then things have just been flat since. The first 2 overs were a lot of fireworks, and they've just flattened out. And now they're even beneath what the Michigan Cricket Stars were. You see those 2 lines intersecting in that 7th over. So they've got their work cut out from this stage onwards in this innings, as Matthew was looking to work that onto the leg side, misses out off his thigh. Saif wanted a single, wasn't to be, so results in a dot ball. We'll have to keep an eye on that run rate and the required run rate, Brian. Every delivery is an event now. And this is nicely driven, but straight to that fielder at cover. Uppishly driven. You thought that Matthew Tromp was to the pitch of the ball and he was going to be right on top of the bounce of that delivery, but he was not. And he drove that straight in the air, and cover had just about a pace to his left and took that catch quite comfortably.
Pretty straightforward catch, and Matthew Trump not getting to the pitch. Had he used his feet, come down just a little bit. He shimmies but doesn't come down. Shifts sort of parallel to the crease and didn't get close to the pitch, and only succeeding in lofting a pretty simple catch to short extra cover. So that is 4 wickets down. Hate to keep saying it, the Houston Hurricanes have absolutely imploded so far on this chase, and to the extent that they still have another 10.18 runs and over to go. That run rate, their actual run rate, is now under 5, almost 5.5. It was 15 a few overs ago. It is now 5.5. They're absolutely going in the wrong direction, and the Hurricanes are struggling. Here come the wickets. First one, the replay there, just struck in the air, pretty straightforward catch. Taking that extra cover. Matthew Trump disappearing for 2 from 12 balls faced.
And that's the first wicket you're seeing. Ehsan Shah, who was on not off the mark at that point in time. We'll bring you those wickets replays pretty soon. It looks like the new batsman is Usman Ashraf, who has just walked into the team. In fact, it's Usman Rafiq Uzi. Yeah. We've said this repeatedly, Brian, that Usman Rafiq oftentimes comes in very late trying to rescue the ship. He's the captain of the ship, and this time around I think he's made the positive move of promoting himself just to ensure that this collapse is stabilized, and the fact that they've lost 4 wickets for just 11 runs in the last few overs. It was 30 for no loss, and now it's 41 for 4. So Usman Rafiq has taken the bull by the horns, and he's going to face up these spinners. Excuse me.
Raza Ali Dar himself bowling a brilliant spell, now 1 for 4 with 1 ball remaining, make that 2 balls remaining in his 3rd over. The 2 left-arm spinners have absolutely tied the Houston Hurricanes in knots. Captain Usman Rafiq promoting himself, but he and his team are now staring down the barrel of what really for them would be a debilitating loss. The Michigan Cricket Stars are a really strong team, top of the division, but what they've shown so far has not been consistent with looking to beat the best team in the division. A half-hearted LBW appeal, Usman Rafiq stretching far forwards. I don't think that would have realistically been considered by umpire Myron West, but just 1 ball remaining now in the 8th over, and that run rate is going more and more south.
And Usman was looking to drive that, completely misses that ball. The over comes to an end at the end of 8. It's 41 for 4.
Wicket maiden again, 41 for 4.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस, इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, तेरे घर लाने का।
You called his name, Munir. Mohammad Mosin, the man who really lit the Prairie View Cricket Complex ablaze with a brilliant batting performance. Struck the ball all over Prairie View, but what he's in this side for is situations like this, to turn the screws. He is an absolutely difficult bowler to get away. And even his warm-up deliveries cannot be controlled by his teammates. He is going to be a handful to face on this wicket.
Arguably one of the best proponents of spin bowling in all of the minor league. Proved his mettle in the major league against the likes of some of the finest professionals going around in franchise T20 circuits. He is extremely skilled. The first time I saw glimpses of him, Brian, was at this year's Houston Premier League. And the moment I saw what he was capable of, he came across as not just a mystery spinner, but somebody who was also a very fine thinker of the game, reads the batsman really well, and knows which variation to use at what point And as far as the Hurricanes are concerned, if Raza and Zishan Ashraf were an uphill task, this is going to be Mount Everest as far as they are concerned.
The thing is, he's a regulation leg spinner, but he moves the ball both directions. Impossible to tell the difference between the googly and the leg break. He's a really difficult bowler to get away. This first ball stroked down into the offside, into the deep. That's long off fielding for the first single in 7 deliveries. Because again, the last delivery was a maiden bowled by Raza Ali Dar. Mohamed Mosin looking to continue the death by spin for the Michigan Cricket Stars.
Yeah, nicely driven by Usman Rafiq for a single. The thing that stands out about Mohamed Mosin and that what makes him very unique, which I've never seen in any leg spinner, is he's got a classic off-spinner's bowling action. The way he approaches the crease, his body is facing mid-wicket and square leg. And even the arms tell you that it's going to be a off-spinner, but then the wrists are so beautiful and so flexible that he bowls a traditional leg spin. So very hard to read off the hand.
And he doesn't toss the ball up very much. In fact, he's flattening it a little bit more today than normally. But he's difficult to get away. This is lofted in the air. Catchable? No. Goes all the way for 6. A welcome 6 by Saif Badar. They need a lot more of those, but not necessarily all at once. It's going to be important to see what the next shot is going to be. The batters who came ahead of Saif Badar wanted all the runs at the same time. It's important to score heavily, but it does not have to be all 4s and 6s. So it's going to be important to see what the next shot looks like after this one.
I'll tell you what, he got a lot of elevation on that, and as the ball went up in the air, the Hurricanes' hearts must have been in their mouths.
Yep.
Long on initially gave the impression that he was in with a chance, but it comfortably cleared him. We saw glimpses of what Saif Badar is capable of a couple of days ago. He played a very sparkling innings, scored a 50. And I've been saying that he's going to be so crucial to the cause of this innings. And he's beaten outside the off stump. Some big turn on that occasion. There's a slip in position. Skipper Zishan Ashraf himself there.
Zishan Maksud.
And that stuck on the pads, but umpire Owen Brown was pretty confident that there was nothing to it. And that's going to bring an end to the over. At the end of 9 overs, the Houston Hurricanes are 50 for 4.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need one hand on the roof, one hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go rewards, when you fuel, you save because rewards come first.
Over number 10 is about to commence. It's 50 for 4, and in similar manner how the Michigan Cricket Stars innings progressed in the first 10 overs, it didn't have a lot of runs on the board, as this is nicely worked down the ground. Very wristy as Saif Badar gets a single. But the Michigan Cricket Stars had preserved those wickets heading into the last 10. And they got stuck into those seamers. But in spite of having a very similar score, the Hurricanes have lost more wickets.
Raza Ali Dar bowling out. A brilliant spell from him so far, along with Zishan Maksud, to pull things back for the Michigan Cricket Stars. You are so right in the approach that is being taken by both of these sides. They paced their innings beautifully, the Michigan Cricket Stars, and accelerated toward the end. But my goodness, Houston appears to be giving it away, and this Mohamed Mosin with a catching opportunity. He drops it. He will want to have taken that. Pretty straightforward catch for him. He puts it down, but my goodness, Houston almost gave away another wicket. They have always shown a consistency to not only not read the situation properly, but just play injudicious shots at the wrong times.
And that was Saif Badr, whose catch was dropped. The most important wicket in this Hurricanes lineup in the context of this game. So the Hurricanes can live to fight another day if they want to put up a fight.
Oh, looking to lap that one over. The keeper was the captain. Wow. Usman Rafiq looking to play that ramp shot. I think that might have ricocheted off of the keeper's body itself. But either way, it's going to be a dot ball. And 2 delivers away from being at the halfway stage. 120 more runs needed by the Houston Hurricanes.
And this is played. It's
good looking shot down the ground. That's going to be just a single, it looks like.
And that brings the over to a close. Raza Ali Dar, take about 16 dot balls in your spell of 4 overs, 8 runs and a wicket. That closes over number 10. It's 54 for 4.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट में क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
So we're joining you live in over number 11. Rizwan Cheema just having a little chat with Mohamed Mosin, who's going to continue. He's bowling his second over. Taking strike is Usman Rafiq. Big turn on that delivery. And it turned from in line of the stumps, so umpire Owen Brown is not going to give a wide.
Big turn and big bounce. That got to Usman Rafiq at chest height.
And this one came back into Usman. The previous one was a leg spinner. I'm not going to give a name to this delivery. Was it a traditional off spin? Was it a carom ball? I just don't want to put a name to it or a title to it. It was a Mosin.
That really is all that you can say. He is an extremely difficult bowler to get away. Lofted down the ground. Is this 6 more? Yep, it is 6 more. So if you're Saif Badr, you're telling yourself, okay, here we are. Let's take stock of where we are at this point. 61 runs are on the board. We need 109 in 57 balls. So we have to have urgency. We need to score 11.47 runs and over the rest of the way. We're only scoring at 5.8. 4 wickets are down. The idea is to be judicious about when you hit big. And because you hit a big shot here, you've gotten 6. But there's still more than one way to get 11 runs and over. You can still hit in the gaps and sprint 2s and then do what you need to do. If you get a bad ball, absolutely put it away. But his approach particularly, I'm looking to see what he learns from where we are right now. This is what I want to see more of. There's a number of ways that you can score quickly. They just need to work it in the gaps in those situations and then take advantage of the bad ball when you get them.
Yeah, and Brian, the problem with the Hurricanes at this point might be that 30 runs came off those first 2 overs. I'll come back to that point after this delivery, as this is hit inside out by Usman Rafiq. This is definitely going for a 6, no doubt there. That's a big hit. So Mohamed Mosin hasn't worked out so far. He's conceded 23 runs in 1.5 overs as we look at this delivery. Usman Rafiq got a decent sighter of this one. It's pitched outside the off stump, and the moment Usman made connection, you can see the despair on the face of Mosin.
Well, That's the point I'm hopefully emphasizing and not overemphasizing. If you respect the good balls and then get a loose ball full in the slot outside off stump, those are the ones that you go after because you do need 11 runs and over. And you have to get them by hitting big. But you have to be judicious about which balls you attack. If you try to attack good balls, good bowlers will get you out. If you wait for the loose balls, and you don't expect to get too many loose ones from Mohamed Mosin, but he's already given 2 in this over, you have to cash in on those. And to the extent that you can keep that simple formula, cash in on the bad balls and then respect the good ones and hit them for 1s and 2s, that is what the formula for being competitive towards the back end of this game would look like.
Yeah, and Mosin is going to continue. He's been hit for 2 sixes. I'm sure he's got some variations to get back and gain control of the spell as that over comes to a close. Mohammad has gone for 23 in his 2 after 11. The Hurricanes making a slight comeback, 68 for 4.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
So as Dar has finished his spell, looks like there's a change in bowling. 11 gone, 68 for 4. We were discussing the proceedings, Brian, and the point we brought up was the fact that the first 2 overs went for 30 runs off the bat of Mukhtar. The next 8, listen to the stat, the next 8 went for 24 and 4 wickets were lost. They went to 3 runs and over. So given how bad that phase of the innings has been for them, it's going to take extra work. They'll have to go the extra mile to recover from that patch. And that's the reason they found that the last 10 overs they needed 120 runs, had to go at 12 runs and over. And as a result, Saif Badr, who's their main batsman, he's having to take risks at this point in time. He has no choice than to look for the boundary, and if his wicket perishes, I think the Hurricanes can close the shop for today.
Well, to your point, and looking at how the Michigan Cricket Stars pace their innings, after over number 11, the Houston Hurricanes have 68 runs on the board. After over number 11, the Michigan Cricket Stars had 59 runs on the board. So they accelerated beautifully towards the back end because they had wickets in hand. You don't get that same acceleration if you're Houston, if you've already lost 4 wickets. First ball worked off of the hip down to backward square leg by Saif Badr. So much depends on him from here. And in fact, this partnership for me may be the most important partnership in terms of dictating what happens the rest of the way. These two can take this into the 17th or so over, then you might think that there's a chance. If they can't, Usman Rafiq missing out on the attempted hoik outside off stump. If they do not, if this partnership is broken soon, or if they get bogged down because of the pressure that they're under, essentially you can say that at this stage with 11.65 runs and over the rest of the way, the Michigan Cricket Stars would end up on top.
That's nicely driven by Usman Rafiq. It's going to go straight to long off, a single. Waqas Salim is coming around the wicket. So he's not giving any width, and he's also not trying to give that inside-out shot. But Usman Rafiq and Saif Badr are well accomplished, and they know how to counter this line of attack. Saif Badr more so than Usman. And that's nicely driven down the ground, right up to the pitch of the ball, just a single.
Certainly getting a single here, boy. The idea is to score off of every ball.
Yeah, the problem is the moment they take a breather, they'll look at the scorecard and realize the required rate has gone up a notch. As Usman is trying to be innovative, that's going to be a wide ball down the leg side, as that's signaled by umpire Myron James. Usman will feel he missed out. There's a lot of open real estate on that leg side, and he still may look to access that side of the wicket given the line of attack and the fact that Waqas Salim is bowling from around the wicket. And that's nicely played. Short third comes and picks it up, but Saif Badr was always looking for that single, and he's back on strike. Only 5 runs of this over, including a wide, so the pressure is back on the Hurricanes. The required rate is inching towards 12 and over already. And again, inside out driven, just wide of long off, and he's going to keep it down to a single. And that brings it close to over number 12. 74 for 4 is the score. 96 required of the last 8 overs.
Or you can do that.
गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट में क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, तेरे घर लाने का।
So we look at that worm chart, and you'll see how much this curve has flattened, and those couple of sixes from Mosin creating just that little crest in the Hurricanes' chase, but then it's flattened out again. It's been that kind of a day for them. Change in bowling. The opening bowler Raju has come back into the attack, bowling to Saif Badr, and we've said spin is going to be difficult on this track, and you might have to re-gauge your approach and fight fire with fire and target the seamers. Raju's first over went for 11, and like we saw, the trend in the Hurricanes' bowling innings was that seamers were taken apart in the second half of the innings. Remains to be seen if they can cause some serious damage here. The partnership of Saif Badr and Usman Rafiq. Shortish delivery into the pitch, not much on it to hit. And they're looking to come back for a second, and that's good running. Really good understanding between Saif Badr and Usman Rafiq.
You are a lot more generous than me, Munir Majid. I think if that was a strong throw, that he's out by a yard. I think it was essentially a suicidal second run, and it was the fact that Saif Badr took off running late from the non-striker's end after having made the turn. I think he is lucky that that fielder coming off of the rope at deep mid-wicket or deep square leg did not have a strong throwing arm. And in fact, you see that Zishan Maqsood has now replaced that fielder with a different fielder on the boundary. I don't think that they try to run 2 again if the ball is hit in that direction.
True, Brian. The second was almost an afterthought.
Yeah.
And this one is handsomely cut. He knew that third man was inside the circle, and so was backward point. Lot of room was on offer. Saif Badr is never going to miss out on that kind of a stroke. And that's a much needed boundary. So 6 of the first 3 deliveries in this over as we look at this replay.
For me, this looks better in the scorebook than it did in actuality. He was looking to play that to mid-wicket. It came off the top edge and went to deep third. So you'll take the runs any way you get them at this stage. Look, you're not going to give that run back or that boundary back. But frankly speaking, he was beaten for pace, and that ball beat him outside off. But you take the runs any way they come at this stage. You're now needing more than, well, in fact, you're needing exactly 2 runs off of every ball. So you'll take them any way you get them.
And a slowish delivery, and it's hit straight down the ground. The fielder is just charging in, and he's going to keep it down to a single. In contrast to the previous occasion where we thought it was just a single and the fielders gave too much time and the batters were able to convert it into two, this was a definite two that was cut into just a one.
Completely agree with you. So a good comeback over here from Abul Hassan Raju. 2 delivers remaining in this, his second over. 7 runs conceded already. But these are 7 runs. 4 of them, I think, are fortuitous. And it is now going to be up to the captain, Usman Rafiq, who's on strike.
And this one goes off a leading edge, but it's safe, falls in no man's land. Usman closed the face of the bat a little too early for his own liking. And no harm done. It's Saif Badr back on strike. If you're the Michigan Cricket Stars, you'll be pretty happy with the outcome of this over. Only 8 runs conceded so far in 5 legal deliveries. So Raju needs to ensure that he finishes this over strong and doesn't concede a boundary on what's the final ball of the over, and this is hit down the ground. So he's done pretty well. That's a decent over. And there's a slight misfield, but the batsmen were just casually strolling through. They thought it was just going to be a single. There was a definite second on, but they were not on their toes. So that brings over 13 to an end. At the end of 13, it's 83 for 4. 87 required of the last 7.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need 1 hand on the roof, 1 hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go rewards, when you fuel, you save because rewards come first.
'23 Sunoco Minor League Cricket Championship is what you happen to be watching today. Official partner of Minor League is Lakshmi. MILC's Cricket for the Community partner is Brew. And Dolphin Media is MILC's outdoor partner. And we have a very tense situation developing. The Houston Hurricanes. The Houston Hurricanes, my apologies for laughing. I'm hearing things in my ear that you all are lucky you're not hearing. But anyway, Houston Hurricanes have struggled for the last, we're now into the 14th over. Make that, 14th, 15th over, 16th over done. Now, all of a sudden, we're now going to be in the 14th over. My apologies. So 13 overs bowled. The last 7 remaining, 87 runs needed. The Hurricanes have struggled and are continuing to struggle. And understanding that they have barely, in fact, they've not even gotten to the halfway stage in terms of the number of runs needed. They've scored 83. They have another 87 to go, and they've lost 4 wickets. So certainly staring down the barrel here is Houston. Lofted in the air over square leg. That is going to be 6. That's a good start to the over. This is Saif Badr, who wants to take the bull by the horns. He's now up to 44 from 28 balls faced with 1 4 and 4 sixes. So the question to be asked is he left with too much to do along with his captain, Usman Rafiq? And in fact, my apologies. The scorecard is right. I was wrong. The score is 89 for 4, and Saif Badr is 38 from 27 with 1 4 and 3 sixes.
Yes, Saif Badr is so strong on that side of the ground. Has a very strong slog sweep. Not just the spinners. I've seen him play that to medium pacers as well. And that's throwing it in his arc. So Waqas Salim might have to rethink the strategy of bowling into the pads of Saif Badr. And this one, just as we were saying that Saif Badr is going to keep dispatching him, that's his strength. And he failed to pick the line of that ball. It wasn't really down that leg side. He created some room and was again looking to hit it into that arc at deep mid-wicket, and was early into the shot, and you see that ball just kiss the off stump.
It kissed the off stump, and to add insult to injury, not only is Saif Badar walking back because he got clean bowled, but then he gets a send-off from Waqar Salim, who made it a point to run down the wicket and yell very close to Saif Badar himself. So again, just adding insult to injury and making sure that the Houston Hurricanes know that that really is a mortal blow that was just landed by the Michigan Cricket Stars. Waqar Salim getting his revenge after being hit the previous ball for 6. Comes back and clean bowls Saif Badar, 38 from 29 balls faced with 1 4 and 3 sixes.
I'll tell you what, if you look at that replay closely, and it was slowed down by Roddy at the point of release, he did not bowl a traditional off spin. With an open palm, he just pushed his ball through, so it did not turn back into Saif Badar. He was looking for that turn. Closely watch the point of release as Waqar Salim is about to release that ball. He does not put revs onto the ball. It's that small pinky finger and the ring finger that pushes it through towards the off stump. So Saif Badar would not have expected that, Brian. He was looking for a traditional off spin that was going to land at middle and leg and turn back into his pads, and he could have easily deposited towards us.
Boy.
But wasn't to be the case. Very smart bowling. So the new batsman, it seems like, is Hamza Bangash.
It is Hamza Bangash. Boy, this just got that much harder. 12.15 runs and over now required for the Houston Hurricanes. Hamza Bangash, a big hitter, looking to chop this one behind point. That's Mohammad Mosin, who comes in to make sure there's no run there. Mohammad Mosin taken out of the attack. 2 overs. I think the second of his 2 overs is not indicative of the type of bowler that he can be. Slapped in the air. This is now Cameron Sheikh down here at deep mid-wicket. Just 1 run. So off the mark is the new batter, Hamza Bangash. Usman Rafiq, now the senior partner, 13 from 17. Boy, this job keeps getting harder and harder. 90 runs on the board, 80 more to go in only 38 balls. So you're needing to score now at the rate of 12.63 runs and over. Let's this one go by outside off stump. Maron James taking a look and then decided that that was within the parameters of what he thinks a fair delivery to be. So a dot ball, a precious dot ball. 7 runs from the over with 1 ball to come and already a wicket fallen. Screws continue to tighten. Appeal for LBW and a quick shout. They run through for what I believe, in fact, no signal by umpire Maron James. So obviously came off the inside edge. A single to end things in the 14th. Last 6, they need 7 to 9 runs. Once again, staring down the barrel here, Houston. They're 91 for 5.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
'91 for 5. Abu Hassan Raju continuing. Swipe and a miss by Usman Rafiq. A dot ball to start things here in the 15th. the last 35 deliveries of this match. And the Houston Hurricanes, in order to win with half their side back in the pavilion, still need another 7 to 9 runs.
Such was the weight of that wicket of Saif Badr. It seems like Usman Rafiq has totally lost his bearings ever since that. He's just failing to get bad on ball at the moment. And this time he comes down the track, and it should be an easy couple of runs. Hamza Bangash was always coming back, and a good strong throw comes back in, but it was an easy 2 all along. Usman Rafiq will have to kind of reapply himself here and just leave everything behind what's happened in this inning so far. Not just this innings, but in some other games in this season and previous seasons. Whenever the Hurricanes are chasing, they're under the pump. They have had a lot of these collapses, so to say. And Usman oftentimes has been the lone warrior. And he just needs to believe in his abilities, Brian. He has done it several times for them. It's a tall ask, even for the stature of a player he is. 77 of 33. A lot of runs to get. But you got to remain positive. Cricket is a funny game.
Tall ask. The required rate now exactly 14. It's not easy to score 14 runs and over, and certainly not easy to do it for 6 overs. Or to make that 5 overs and 4 balls. Quick delivery, and again going by the outside edge of Usman Rafiq's bat. So this is getting progressively more difficult for Houston, and it may be to the point where you stop looking at comparing the required rate and the actual run rate. The actual run rate is now 6.3. The required rate has ballooned to 14.5. So a quick chat between the two batters in the middle, because it may be getting to the point where this game is beyond redemption for the Houston Hurricanes. Abul Hassan Raju into his 3rd over now. Conceded 22 runs. The first over going for 11. So his bowled well after being reintroduced to the attack. Full delivery up the passing the outside edge again. Usman Rafiq with his head to the heavens, because nothing that he's doing in this over is working. 3 dot balls make that. You have 3 dot balls consecutively. 1 ball remaining here. And in fact, of the 5 balls that have been bowled in this over to him, 4 have been dot balls. And the only other one that was not a dot ball, he scored 2 runs. So just 2 from the over so far, with 1 ball remaining. And again, staring down the barrel here is the captain Usman Rafiq and the Houston Hurricanes.
Yeah, oftentimes just feeling a couple of deliveries in the middle of the bat is all you need to get back into form. It's not happening for Usman right now at the end of 15. It's 93 for 5.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
The last 5 overs of this chase, about 30 runs more than where the Hurricanes would have wanted to be chasing. They need 77 of 30 balls now, a required rate of almost 15.5. And to make the situation worse, Zishan Maqsood is back in the attack. He has conceded only 7 runs of his 3 overs and taken 3 big wickets on top of the 48 runs he scored batting first.
Boy, he himself started the reversal of things in this match with the brilliant spell to pull the Hurricanes back after that fast start. This is driven down the ground, catchable and taken. Very straightforward. Hamza Bangash had no choice, looking to go big, and only succeeding in chipping a pretty simple catch to long on, about 5 yards off the boundary. Takes it chest high, and yet another body blow for the Houston Hurricanes. The Hurricanes right now collapsing all around themselves, and the Michigan Cricket Stars, showing why they are the leading team in the division. There's a replay, lofted down the ground. Really not much in the way of momentum delivered into that ball by Hamza Bangash, and just lofting it down the ground. A pretty simple catch. Mohammad Kamal making no mistake, right down his throat. 6 wickets are down. The Houston Hurricanes are 93 for 6.
Cricket is a game of momentum. All these batters who are departing one after the other are very accomplished batsmen. Hamza Bangash himself is a fearsome hitter, but when the rub of green is not going your way, that muscle memory, the brain just does not pump the muscles to kind of recollect that muscle memory and deposit the ball in the stands. Everyone is looking so subdued. Hamza Bangash probably on previous occasions would have hit a left-arm spinner down the ground numerous times, but on that occasion, there was only one outcome. He was always going to hit it down the throat of long on. So doubts have crept in the minds of these Hurricanes batsmen ever since that collapse started in that first over of Zishan Maqsood, when he came on to bowl over number 3 and picked up those 2 wickets. It's been one-way traffic. The new batsman is Usman Ashraf, and he positively drives this, and sweeper cover is going to come across and keep it down to a couple of runs. So good start for Zishan Ashraf.
Usman Ashraf with a good-looking stroke into the extra cover area. Zishan Maqsood, unbelievable bowling so far. 3.2 overs, 4 for 9. Just brilliant bowling. Next delivery going past the outside edge of Usman Ashraf's bat. And boy, this will officially be the last time we talk about the run rate, actual versus required, because the actual run rate is now 10 runs per over below the required run rate. So no point in making that conversation anymore. This is punched into the deep. Long off coming across. Just another single. And the only mystique remaining in this game is whether or not the Houston Hurricanes will get to within, 50 of where they're looking to their opponents. If they can get to within 50 of their target, that will be something of a moral victory. This is slapped in the air. Cameron Sheikh takes it easily. Yet another wicket. This is really at this stage taking candy from a baby. The Houston Hurricanes are on the back foot and absolutely falling apart. 7 wickets are now down with 1 ball remaining here in the 16th. The score is 96 for 7.
As we look at that replay, Usman Rafiq steps to the off stump. He was trying to open access, but the range hitting just hasn't had range today. A lot of batsmen have perished in the deep, and that's been a trend with the Hurricanes. It's in so many of these chases. If they study their mode of dismissals, they would see that 90%, I'm not exaggerating, 90% of the batters have tried to clear the fence and they hold out to the outfielders. So with the departure of Usman Rafiq, I think it's safe to say that that's the end of the tale as far as the Hurricanes are concerned for today. Karthik Gattapalli is going to join Usman Ashraf, the first left-hander that's come out as compared to the flurry of left-handers that was just
the whole team
revealed by Michigan Cricket Stars this morning, and that hampered the plans of Usman Rafiq to deploy his spinners, especially Karthik, who's left-arm orthodox, and Usman Ashraf, who's leg spin. And that tilted the game in favor of the Michigan Cricket Stars heavily.
Unbelievable turnaround here by the Michigan Cricket Stars, and you could also say an unbelievable collapse by the Houston Hurricanes. Just 1 ball remaining now in the 16th. Last ball of the spell bowled here by Zishan Maqsood is a dot ball. Fittingly, absolute for me, player of the match. Figures 4 overs, 1 maiden, 5 wickets for 10 runs. A 5-4, and with what he scored with the bat in the first innings, I think easily he is my pick so far for player of the match. That is the end of 16. The score is 96 for 7.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Left arm over. Seam bowler Mohammad Kamal. He bowled 1 over for 19 runs. That's where Mukhtar Ahmed got stuck into Kamal. And skipper Zishan Ashraf had to bring himself into the attack. And that was the last laugh that the Hurricanes had today. And Mohammad Kamal is going to be angling the ball across the right-hander, just slanting them. And Osman Ashraf, Brian, is no muck with the bat. He is a handy batsman. He's come into the team today in the role of a batsman. And he shows you there with an extravagant cover drive. And they should be coming back for a second. It's going to be tight. The throw was on bad bounce to the wicketkeeper. If the throw was slightly more accurate, that was curtains for Osman Ashraf.
A better throw there from Abul Hassan Raju gets another wicket. It was offline and it was not a very strong throw, which is surprising for a fast bowler. But my goodness, had that been a more accurate throw, that would have been the end of the batter. Short, hammered in this direction again. This really will just be one this time as Raju gets it on a couple bounces. Still not showing the capability of throwing the ball right over the stumps. But again, at this point, it's rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. It doesn't really make a very big difference.
And if we look at the points table for the Pacific Conference, the Michigan Cricket Stars had slipped to number 2 in the table just momentarily as the Chicago Kings went back on their victory this morning over the Dallas Mustangs. Had taken the first place in the table. But it's inevitable that the Michigan Cricket Stars are going to sleep tonight with the contentment of top of the table owners again in their back pocket, as Karthik Gattapalli has a wild swing and Mohammad Mosin is backtracking. He didn't even have to move much and takes that catch comfortably. Looks like it hits his fingers and he's down in pain, but he completes the catch.
I think that is from the first catch that he dropped much earlier in the innings. When he dropped that catch, I think the ball jammed his finger then. And in this situation, you know that it's going to hurt either way, so you might as well catch it. So that catch, for me, I think, re-injures that finger. But it's better to have a re-injured finger having caught the ball than have a re-injured finger having dropped another one. So he made very sure that he caught this one. A pretty straightforward catch, made more difficult by the fact that I think that he's carrying a bit of an injury from that drop catch in the first earlier in the innings. But either way, 99 for 8. The Houston Hurricanes are 2 deliveries effectively away from this match being finished. It may be that the only intrigue left the rest of the way is, can the Hurricanes bat out the remaining 20 deliveries left in this innings?
Absolutely, Brian. And Mohammad Mosin is going to smile, is going to have a smile on his face and say, that's not my bowling hand. That's the breed spinners are these days. As the new batsman is Hassan Rashid. He joins Osman Ashraf. In fact, Usman Shinwari has come out. And he joins Osman Ashraf. So 2 of the 3 Osmans are out there in the middle. Osman Shinwari, 71 runs to win of 20 deliveries. Mohammad Kamal comes in, and that's going to be slightly inside those wide markers. So I'm pretty sure Owen Brown is not going to signal a wide. You would have seen that on your screens. And so is the replay going to suggest. And if you're a seam bowler, That's basically the plan you're after. Just target those wide marker lines in these death overs.
Get it inside that line. That's the only thing that matters.
And he did by a couple inches on that occasion.
Yes.
And this time he goes for the stumps, and luckily for Osman Shinwari, takes a thick outside edge and evades Mosin at short third. So the over closes with a boundary. Osman Shinwari will take it. Regardless of what the outcome of the game is going to be, the net run rate, runs for, runs against, is all that counts. They would have preferred to get those 2 points, but they'll settle for what they can muster right now. At the end of this over, number 17 that is, the score is 103 for 8. Final 2 overs of this innings about to come. Final 3 overs, my apologies. So we're going to resume proceedings in over number 18. Mosin would be likely the one bowling out 18 and 20. Here he comes to Usman Ashraf. In fact, Osman Shinwari, who gets an under edge on that delivery and couldn't get through for a single, so a dot ball.
Mohamed Mosin continuing, got knocked around a little bit in the second over. Most of that damage done by Saif Badar, but he's long since gone. Slower through the air this time. Usman Shinwari looking to sort of work the ball into the gaps. It may be that we're playing a net run rate game here, Munir. Victory is long since been, I think, unrealistic, realizes unrealistic. I think all you're looking to do here is that's an elegant late cut running down the hill. It may get to the boundary, and it does get to the boundary. Not a bad-looking late cut that is played here by Usman Ashraf. Good-looking shot, just going off the back foot and just running it off the face down to deep third for a boundary. So it may be that the Houston Hurricanes have just decided, tell you what, let's just bat through the rest of the innings, get any runs that we can, and then let's not hurt our net run rate too much, because really there's nothing else to accomplish in this match.
Give that man Zishan Maqsood a break. Now he's having to chase balls down to the boundary. Already done so much, and this is a beautiful stroke, Usman Ashraf. Where were you all this time? A beautiful late cut to one of the finest spinners in the country, and now coming down to the pitch. Decent footwork and plays it inside out. I'm liking the look of Usman Ashraf so far. Beautiful stroke.
Tell you what, skipping down the pitch and just dancing down. Ooh,
and this time he brings out the long handle, getting across and playing a scoop shot, knowing exactly where the fielders were, and that's 3 boundaries in a row. Mohamed Mosin is just not having the best of days. The score moves on to 117 for 8. In 18th over, just one more ball to go in this over.
So the last 13 overs, the last 13 balls of this match, and I guess Usman Ashraf has decided to have some fun. For what it's worth, another 53 runs needed from the next 13 balls. You can decide for yourselves if that's even possible. Mathematically, certainly possible. If you hit a 4 every ball the rest of the way, you'll end up with the scores level. But realistically speaking, I think if you're the batters, maybe you can enjoy yourselves and have some fun. But the majority of the heavy lifting has already been, the opportunity has been lost. Looking to use his feet again, driving down the ground. Should just be a single, as long off is down there to prevent anything other than that single. 15 runs coming from that over number 18. Mohamed Mosin has not had the best day with the ball, what you'd expect from him normally. So 38 runs from his 3 overs so far. Last 2 overs coming up. 1-1-8 for 8.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need 1 hand on the roof, 1 hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go rewards, when you fuel, you save because rewards come first.
Mohammad Kamal is going to continue left arm over. 26 for 1 in his 2 overs. And this one is beautifully struck inside out, and it's going to evade that fielder. Not really. Who is it? Rizwan Chima. You would put your money down on him 10 out of 10 times to take that catch. For someone of his stature, that's a simple catch. For you and me, Brian, that's a once in a lifetime catch if we manage to hold on to something like that.
Rizwan Chima, former Canadian international, running backward from extra cover. And it stayed in the air for a while. The wind blowing from the south picking up would have been taking that ball away from Chima, but he managed to track it down and judge it to perfection. Not as fleet-footed as he used to be as a younger man, but gets close enough to it to outstretch both arms. You see on the replay, it just lopped it in the air. Chima running, making the short distance that he needed to, and then extending those arms to complete the catch. That is wicket number 9 for the Houston Hurricanes. And the last pair coming to the wicket, this will be Usman Shinwari, who is at the non-strikers end. In fact,
Hassan Rashid.
My apologies. Hassan Rashid will be on strike, and Usman Shinwari at the non-strikers end. One more delivery potentially for the rest of this match to be finished.
And barring that one catch that Mohammad Mosin dropped uncharacteristically, they've been such a safe fielding side. They've taken some stunners.
Yep.
I'll go beyond saying they're a safe fielding team. They are an exceptional fielding team, are the Michigan Cricket Stars, and this might be the end of it. He couldn't get there in time this time, Rizwan Chima, so Hassan Rashid is going to get to the other end and turn it over to his opening bowling partner, Usman Shinwari.
Well, when you have Usman Shinwari and Hassan Rashid working in combination or in tandem, if you have them with the ball in hand, that's a different story. If you have both of them with the bat in hand at this stage of the match, then you know that's a bad sign for the Houston Hurricanes.
Absolutely. So 4 deliveries to go in this innings, and Usman Shinwari steps down, and that's the end of this game. The wicket, leg stump the pole is out, and it's on the floor, and so are the Houston Hurricanes. They have been humbled today. They lose this game by more than 50 runs, 51 to be precise, and this is going to dent their chances to make the playoffs. Until now, they at least had a positive net run rate, and the 2 games they had lost were marginal ones where they were in winning situations. But today is the first time in these 5 games that they have been beaten absolutely convincingly, and they have been humbled at the hands of Michigan Cricket Stars, who look like a well-oiled unit.
We'll see on the scorecard. Mukhtar Ahmed started out well, 29. Hassan Shah did not trouble the scorers. Josh Trump only scoring 5. Saif Badar tried for a while, 38 runs. Matt Trump 2. Usman Rafiq 16. Hamza Bangash 1. Usman Ashraf 19. Most of those runs really after the match was already decided. Kartik Gatipalli didn't trouble the scorers. Usman Shinwari 5 and Hassan Rashid 1. So for me, the pick of the bowlers easily is Zishan Maksud, the captain. The 2 opening bowlers went for runs early. 30 runs were on the board after the first 2 overs. Zishan Maksud brings himself on in the power play. 4 overs, 1 maiden, 5 for 10, if you can believe that. Ably supported by Raza Ali Dar. 4 overs, 1 for 8 with 1 maiden. Mohammad Mosin took some stick, 3 overs, none for 37. Waqas Salim at the end, 2 overs, 1 for 14. But for me, this match was decided when Zishan Maksud decided to bring himself on inside the power play. Pretty straightforward victory in the end. The Michigan Cricket Stars pulling things back 3 overs in, and then the rest of the way the Houston Hurricanes were always climbing uphill.
50 runs is the winning margin in the end, a huge one. And with that, the Michigan Cricket Stars are going to go back to the top of the table. A revived Michigan Cricket Stars unit. They had been hovering around the mid-table for that Pacific Conference, but this year they've returned to the minor league, the Sunoco minor league, as one of the powerhouses. It's one of the strongest pools in this competition, with the likes of Dallas Mustangs, Chicago Kingsmen, a new addition, Chicago Tigers, Houston Hurricanes, Lone Star Athletics, a lot of very strong teams, even the Dallas Exploria Giants and St. Louis Americans. But Michigan Cricket Stars, after today's round of games, are back at the top of the table in rather convincing fashion. And if you're the Houston Hurricanes, you've got to go back to the drawing board, and there's a lot of work to do. They, first of all, have to figure out their bowling combinations, because they went for a lot of runs in the death overs. And on top of that, it's again that chasing and the batting collapse, the similar deja vu of a batting collapse that comes back to haunt them over and over again. And they're having a conference. There is the team management, the skippers. I'm pretty sure they're going to reflect on this. But Brian, the games keep coming at you. There's no respite. And once you're down and out, it's going to take a lot of courage and strength to bounce back. And they'll be playing the Chicago Tigers tomorrow to round up this Labor Day weekend.
It feels like, for no other reason, the Houston Hurricanes right now need to be playing for pride. Playing for pride, you at some point need to say, we're going to defend our home turf. And forget the table, forget net run rate, forget everything else. Let's just do the best that we can because we are at home. And it may be that that pride might be the only thing that allows them to come out and really express themselves. And express themselves without being in such a way reckless. I think much of their stroke play in this match can be described as being reckless. So we'll see exactly where that goes. For now, we're going to sign off here from the wonderful Prairie View Cricket Complex in Prairie View, Texas. Brian Walters and I almost said Mohamed Mosin. Brian Walters and Munir Majid, MM. Either way, thank you for joining us here for the last several hours. We will be back with you. Tune in sometime tomorrow. We'll be back on the air at about 9:50 a.m. Central Standard Time. Until then, good night and good luck.
Right, Brian, I'll come to that. Oh, look at that. Mukhtar Ahmed has hit the ground running. Needs no one.
Stamp their authority on things. He's short ball, not unexpected given that exchange, but it's punched away in the deep. Mukhtar Ahmed has his second bounce.
As the next delivery comes in, and this is played inside out. And does it? And this one is slightly back of length, and he cannot bowl him there. Oh, this is beautifully driven. I was going to say that the...
Oh, lofted in the deep, but not far enough. Sprinting off the boundary and diving. Did he take that catch? What a spectacular catch taken. Keep losing regular wickets with that first one.
And this time Mukhtar Ahmed goes down the ground. Long on has it. And this one is straight up in the air as well. And long event now. And this is nicely driven, but straight to that fielder.
More today than normally. But he's difficult to get away. This is lofted in the air. Catchable? No. Goes all the way for 6.
To that point after this delivery, as this is hit inside out by Usman Rafiq. This is definitely going for a 6. No doubt there. An afterthought.
Yeah.
And this one is handsomely cut. He knew that.
Here is Houston. Lofted in the air over square leg. That is going to be 6.
Saf Badr. And this one.
Brilliant spell to pull the Hurricanes back after that fast start. This is driven down the ground, catchable and taken. Very be something of a moral victory. This is slapped in the air. Cameron Sheikh takes it easily.
In their back pocket as Karthik Gattapalli has a wild swing and Mohammad Mosin is backtracking. He didn't even have to move much. And now coming down to the pitch decent footwork and plays it inside out. I'm liking the look of Usman Ashraf so far. The 1 in his 2 overs. And this one is beautifully struck inside out, and it's gonna evade that fielder. Not really. Who is it? Rizwan Chima. You would put your money down on him 10 out of 10 times you take to go in this innings. And Usman Shinwari steps down, and that's the end of this game. The wicket.
You're watching the Sunoco Minor League Cricket Championship, brought to you by our 2023 partners.